wasikie na wafanye kitu yenye sisi tunataka. Lakini hapo tubonge. So unashangaa, is citizen in bed with the government? Kama mnafikiria nadanganya, just wait and see, mtaiona. Niliona jana. Muangalie hata saa hii, muangalie. Saa hii ndio hiyo TV47 juzi nasema sijui tunataka 4 cabinet secretaries wenye wametoa juzi warudishwe. Kina nani hao wanataka? Mimi sitaki. Ama kuna msemo mwingine amesema ati anataka. Sijaona. Ama kuna msemo ametweet. Communication yote ninataka kuanza kulimit kina nani kina nani hizi mainstream media, kina nani kwa mainstream medias watakuwa naonyesha protest. So in some way hao watu wanataka kutufinya tusionekane, vitu zenye tunafanya zisionekane, lakini wanasahau tuko na internet, tuko na Twitter, yes, tuko na Instagram, tuko na TikTok, watu wataenda live. Lakini kitu yenye nafani, we need to be heard. Hiyo ndio kitu yenye nafai kuwe. We need to be heard. Hatuwezi sikizwa kama hatuwezi sikizwa kama tunacheza Kenyatta Avenue. Tutoke hapo. Twende JK yenye unataka kuuza. Twende tuone ni kitu wanauziwa. Twende tukae hapo, hizo mandege ziache kuenda na kutoka. Ama hata hizi ofisi ofisi ni bigi hapa za magava za mani na zimekaa tu hapo. Joto unajua protest zinaendelea CBD. Yako sawa, hiyo kazi inaendelea kwa wake as normal. Mbona tusiwa occupy? So tunafaa tujiulize maswali. Tunataka results tofauti, lakini tunataka kufanya strategy tofauti. Alafu na some MPs hapa, some MPs at start tukianza hiki kitu walikuwa kwamba huyu wa Mushoba, that lady was specs amekuwa against finance bill from the start pamoja na ule governor wa Nyeri from the start. Lakini juzi after cabinet imekuwa dissolved, unaanza kuona wanasema ati umpatie Mount Kenya sijui nini. So you should just ask ourselves, hao ndio wale watu wenye walikuwa wanasema kuna sisi ama walikuwa watu wanataka vitu zao? Those people are opportunists. Hao wanadandia tu, hao wanatupeleka hivi alafu wanatudandia. Sasa wako wapi? Sasa ongei. Huo Mushoba sijuzi amesema hapa ati tupatie dialogue a chance, ati tukitoa presos juu nini ndafanyika. So mnafaa muangalie this our MPs. Muulize, mlikuwa mnasema hivi, sasa mbona mnasema hivi? So niyo hadi kitu na bo.
Thank you underscore. Next I had Esther.
Hey Kioti, unanisikia leo?
Loud and clear.
Jana nimejaribu to make submission nikakata, but I am glad I'm back. So personally I have a lot to say and I'll try and compress it. One of the things yenye imeniwasha sana kwa space leo nikasema lazima niongee ni mwenye alijaribu ku raise the religious card. Let me start by saying that I respect all religions na sijawahi leta issue ya religion hapa. Personally I have a personal relationship with God and my father. So mtu asione tuna support movement of pagans atujui Mungu, na nikasikia hiyo hapo akihepa hiyo point ya religion hadi akasema hapana, mimi nasema ukileta bant hapa be ready to end nayo hadi tuimalize. And I'm personally not afraid of the religious card. Mimi nimelelewa church kutoka nikiwa mtoi. I was a Sunday school. Nimefanya kila kitu can imagine. I've been a Sunday school attendant, hata leader, worship team, hizo vitu. So mtu asijaribu kutugaslight na mambo ya Mungu. Na personally naweza sema hivi, the same way tunachambua constitution, mwenye anataka tuchambue Bible hapa akijaribu kusupport the evil that the government is doing, because personally if you banta tunaenda nayo hadi tumalize. I want to point out a few things from the Bible. God rejected Eli one thing you should know, Mungu anaweza kuwa na kukatae. If you started with God na umalize na mwili, believe you me, God will reject you. I want to try and compress a few points. Number one, I've written my points down. God rejected Eli. God rejected Saul. God rejected Nebuchadnezzar. God corrects people and does not condone nonsense. Let me tell you something. Mimi napenda Mungu na mimi ni wa church, lakini mimi spendi ujinga. And I say that all along, and I apply that from family level, work level, everywhere. Mimi spendi ujinga, na usiwahi tumia Mungu kujaribu kubring up that card tioni ni nini. So now kuna hii part ingine. Kumbukeni Yesu vile alichapa watu. Kwani wale watu walikuwa hapo? Do you know who Pharisees were at the time of Jesus? Pharisees were highly respectable people. Watu walikuwa wanajulikana, like don't try nonsense with those people. Na Yesu hakujaribu kunini ati kusema ati jua ni Farisi sitawachapa. Aliwachapa na hakuwa support. Another thing, if you want to bring the religion, by the way, mkiwa niona kwa hii space, mtu ajaribu kuleta the religion card, muniite juu mimi nitakuwa hapo nayo hadi mwisho. God doesn't support bloodshed. God is a God of justice. God is a God of holiness. There is nothing that anybody anafanya wrong kwa hii government imesupportiwa mahali kwa Bible. And another thing people need to know, Bible usupportiana from Genesis to Revelation. I don't know what we call referencing. If you give me a verse, don't go with one verse. Unipatia verse ya kwanza una reference na ingine na inasupportiangwa na ingine katikati na ingine mwisho. Then another thing, don't be cheated. The Old Testament and the New Testament, they are all together. Vile Mungu alitengeneza hiyo kitabu yote inasupportiananga. So mtu asiwe jaribu. Now I'm speaking from a Christian perspective. I can't speak for the Muslim or for the Indian. I'm speaking for what I know and what I've been raised in. Another thing, if God has sent out his people and they have disobeyed him, and again I'm referencing from the Bible, Mungu akikutuma ukatae, he will pick somebody else. God cannot be fooled. God cannot be bribed. There is something also called holy anger. Na nimesikia kuna watu kadhaa wa Mungu wakisema, kama nyinyi mlitumwa na Mungu mkakataa, God has raised Gen Zs. He has poured out holy anger so that you can bring out his mission. For those people who don't know, na ndio nasema msituone hapa tukipiga kelele mkadhania tujui God. This country was appointed by God to bring revival. For those who know and for those who are born again in this space. And if the revival is supposed to come from Kenya to go to the whole world, but it has been filthized by people, it has been ratified, bloodshed, rape, every evil thing you can read in the Bible has been done in this country. And I can assure you, God is very angry at the people who are delaying revival in this country. So mtu asijaribu kule, yani I am shaking with anger. Mtu asijaribu kuleta hiyo kadi hapa ya religion. If God appoints you and you refuse, hata kumbukeni mali kwa Bible imesema msiponiabudu mawe itaniabudu. That is another thing. Musisahau pia mahali, who is this person God used the donkey kuongea na yeye, umekataa kusikia, punde itaongea, ng'ombe zitaongea, farasi zitaongea. So kama Mungu amechagua sisi ndio tutaongea because mouthpiece zake zimekataa, so be it. I want to, when I was thinking about the points that I had in mind, it's like God was also dropping a few things in my mind on what I wanted to speak. Remember, if you read the story of David and Saul, and I want you guys to go back to your Bibles, the same way mnasema constitution for those who are Christians. When David started out, he was probably a Gen Z in his time. Alikuwa amedharauliwa na brothers wake. His father was Jesse. Alikuwa huko kwa mang'ombe when his brothers were fighting in the field. And when he was picked, he was probably a Gen Z of their time. And then when he was picked and he started now, Saul akaona, kumbe aka kaboy kanaweza nisaidia. He was also, sorry to say, like Raila. Akaona, wacha ni ride kwa hii glory iko kwa David, ndio nifike mahali nataka. He had his own dubious motives for using what God had poured into David. And if you remember how Jonathan had become friends with David, Jonathan was Saul's friend. They were best friends. Ni kama mimi sasa nikwe best friend ya mtoi wa Ruto ama wa Raila. But for example, kama ni mtoi wa Raila, si believe Kenya my dad anafanya. That is what David and Jonathan were. They were best friends. And so David was anti-government at that time. So I want you to relate those things. Even that time, at some point, David was anti-government, and then sijui roho chafu ikaingia Saul. so that now, again, God had to use the gift and David to play the harp to Saul so that the evil spirit could get out of him. So relate that to what is happening to the Gen Zs and the movement right now. And that is what exactly is happening. So somebody is trying to use what God has put in us to ride into our glory. Wao walitumwa kwanza, sisi tukanyamazishwa, lakini sasa Mungu ameinua his holy anger in us. Now, so when David started out as anti-government, he finally became king. Okay, he finally became king, overthrow government because Saul got rejected. The minute God appoints you, let me use that card that lady used, though I disagree with it for my personal reasons. Let us even assume that Ruto had been appointed by God initially. Okay, fine, he was appointed, but now he's rejected. We cannot keep on swinging onto that. If he was appointed, you want to use that card, I will also come with my nail at the coffin and say he is now rejected. And he's rejected because he's gone against what we had promised. He's been rejected because he's just gone against everything he's been saying. Now, by the way, as a Christian, I don't think Ruto stands for anything that he purported to be supporting, hata iwe ni ya Mungu ama iwe ni ya constitution. And by the way, God hates a lying tongue. I'm so angry right now and I'm shaking. My ears are hot and I believe I'm all red right now. God hates a lying tongue, and mimi mtu asiwahi jaribu kutumia hiyo kadi. Hiyo nimemalizana nayo. Nikiongea mambo ya Ukristo hapa sitamaliza. So hiyo kadi mwenye anataka kuileta hiyo, msiogope. Tunaenda nayo hadi mwisho. Something else in my last speaker amesema double speak. I have noticed that people want to ride with the Gen Z wave when we are being celebrated, and again they want to move backwards when we are being condemned. Mimi usema hivi, even in my personal life, stand for one thing. Wacha kuwa kigeugeu. If you're for the movement, be for the movement. If you're against the movement, be against the movement. Wacha hii maneno ya, I'm for the movement when people are being all nicey. I'm against the movement when now we are being condemned. Personally, I've been for the movement from the word go. I've been for the movement for the word go, not because of the way, but because of I, as Easter, what do I stand for? I will not swing because somebody has told me I'm doing a good thing or a bad thing. Because Wamushamba is now not clapping for me. Now I'm feeling tempted to be for the movement. I'll be for the movement all the way. If I need you guys to read something about the Financial Times article. I've read that article. It's so good. You need to go read it. Nimeiona kwa timeline na nimeisoma. Ruto started a class war. When initially he thought this wave will work for him, yes, it worked for him, but he should have made it work for him all the way. He started by saying the poor, the what was it called, the dynasties. Now it has become a class war, and now the rich people are saying, oh my God, the poor people have risen. They have known what they need to. They've known what we didn't want them to know. Yani mjinga sasa amerevuka, and we have become a danger to the rich people. I'm sorry to say, I'd never wanted this argument to be about rich and poor, but you need to read that article, and I agree with it. When these guys started saying ati watu wa vitendawili na watu wa bodaboda na nini, kwani what was that? It was a class war. And if you go back to everything that happened and all the clips that were replayed, there was some leader, hasa nakumbuka Uhuru akisema, this is a class war you're starting. And he started a fire that he cannot put out. Hiyo nimemaliza. Be true to who you are. If you're for the movement, be for the movement. Then there is something else as I close my submission. There was this thing about the police saying CBD is out of bounds because nini. I have one thing to say. Why do we have to be double standard? Again, I go back to that thing. Kama wanasema tunaharibu CBD, why are they not saying, and by the way, as watu wanaharibu pia sisi tuache kushoot? They've still not given us the person or the people responsible for the deaths of the people who are in SACS. You know, Kenyans, we have this weakness of forgetting. Tunasonga sila haraka na tunasahau. Let us note in our minds the things that have been left hanging here and there. So we've still not been told who killed the people. And by the way, I've heard people saying it's not only women who are killed. Kill that narrative. Si wanawake pekee walikuwa kwa hizo magunia. We still don't know who is responsible for that. These people are also not saying they've been shooting protesters. Hiyo kitu NPS imerelease ya kusema nini ati tusiende CBD juu tunaharibu vitu. Have they also admitted that shooting people and they should stop? So maybe even in my personal life nasemanga, as I correct you in your wrongs, I should also correct myself. The other thing, as I finish, abductions by the police. It is very good that God is releasing confusion amongst these people. Wenyewe wanaambiwa sijui gaitho huyu, and there's a part I put in my timeline and said, who is this Canon? Sorry to say, I can't remember his first name. Is it Francis Gaitho became collateral damage? Yes, it's Francis. Francis Gaitho became collateral damage. The person they wanted, it was not a mistake. Walikuwa wanataka Macharia Gaitho because of what he wrote. Kwani wewe unaweza confuse mtu mali anaishi hata kama tunaitwa the same surname. The same thing Mash said. Huyu mtu hakuwa ati ameandamwa bure. Now because they had to clean up their narrative, that is why they had to arrest Francis Gaitho to try and make it look like, oh, by the way, it's true. This is about that he was collateral damage. Just drop that narrative. So right now, I'm so angry, and I'm angry because of hypocrisy. I'm angry because even we, sometimes the citizenry, cannot decide on which side we are on. People want to go on the populist side. Na mimi husema, hata kama nitaachwa peke yangu, I will stand on the side I believe is right because of my morals. I close my submissions. I am so mad right now.
Thank you, Esther. Thank you very much. Tafadhali usikunywe maji. Just take a deep breath in and breathe deep breath out. Don't even drink water. I don't want you to drink water because these guys are playing us.
They are playing us.
They're playing us.
Biril, I've seen
Yes.
finally somebody is with me akiongelea the classism.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Esther. Thank you. Next we had Gloria. Then after Gloria, we'll go to Western. After Western, there is Wallace, Pambazuka, then Kevin, in that order. Gloria?
Okay, thank you very much. In fact, I'm glad Esther went before me. Na ame-explain hizo vitu za religion vizuri sana. And it's from there, because these people are so much anchored into religion ama nini. Hapo ndo pia sisi lazima vita yetu tuweke. Not necessarily openly saying, oh, God has refused this or God has refused the other. But we can strategically, tuseme Mondays, we want all our days to be occupied. From now, because hao wanaandika vitu, they're writing narratives, so we are always going to their, whatever I see most of us going there to try and negate or counter their narratives. We do not have to counter them like that. We can have our own narrative that we stick to, which is still going to counter their narratives without us having to waste energy going to their pages, seeing what they are doing. It's a good thing. Raila ameshajitokeza, because hiyo ndo inakuanga mostly a hindrance. He is usually the hindrance, because we always have this fantasy that what if tungekuwa tumechagua Raila, what if now hata ungemchagua, hakuna kitu ingechange. They are the same people. Unaona sasa ameenda ameshikana na Ruto. Thank you very much. It makes our work easier because all enemies one side. The rest of us citizens who are looking for good governance, who are looking for change, one side. So now let's just have every day one narrative yenye tunapush. Tukisema Monday, exposing Ruto's lies. Tunakuwa na hashtag kama exposing Ruto's lies, Ruto must go. Wewe ni kutafuta zile video vitu zenye amekuwa akisema. Hiyo ndo kazi yetu. Hatujali hao anapush nini. That is what we are pushing. But always we have Ruto must go. Tukisema Tuesday, tunaoccupy mahali, tunapush ya hiyo siku ya tunaoccupy. Tukisema Wednesday, corruption in the government. Hizi vitu zenye zimetolewa, hizi sijui 15 billion lost where, tunazicollect zote. Tunazipush. Mtu unakopi tu paste kwa mwenzako. Ukisema exposing corruption, Ruto must go. Hivyo. We fight our own war without having to be distracted with what they are doing. So right now, they are fighting the media. Okay, we agree. The media has always been not balanced. That much we agree. But still, we need the media. So saizi, unaona Citizen venye Macharia alishikwa, and then Macharia Gaitho, then they shot some journalists in Nakuru. All of a sudden, Citizen TV nao wakatoa hiyo that short compilation of theirs on police brutality. Hawajakuwa wakitoa. And because of that, now they are there occupy Citizen TV, genocide media. When something like that happens, much as easy media ziko corrupt and nini, just know that we need the media. So we can even come up with a counter hashtag while pushing our own things. Na lazima tukue na sisi pia media day, Friday ikue media day. Tuna unleash video zetu za what happened during the week, media day, media information day. That is the only way we'll keep these people on their toes. Tusiende kuangalia Itumbi ameandika nini, tusiende. No. Sisi tukue na yetu na tuweke energy zetu hapa. Let's not bother what it is they're doing because they are dividing our attention, they are dividing our energies. Ujigawe mara ngapi? Mara hapa ndo huyu, mara kuna huyu Raila traitor hapa to deal with, mara there is the other. No. Let's just say bad rubbish, bad whatever, one side. Wakae huko, wajipange wenyewe. Sisi tunapanga yetu kila siku. We have something we are pushing every day, putting all our energies on our own mission and not dividing our attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria. Funny guys, you still follow those guys? We asked you and unfollow them so that they don't have a platform. Let them talk to themselves. Don't follow them.
But, and you see people that are in the movement, you see them, struggling so much to counter. Ndo nasema, let's not struggle. Let's leave them to say whatever they want to say. Let us have our own strategy, our own message yenye kila siku tuko na mission, hii ndo message tuna push.
Thank you again. If you hear and you heard what Esther said, we stick to one. If you're in the motion, if you're in the movement, you stay in the movement. If you're not for it, just drop out of it because unatuchokesha. Pambazuka, I'll give you after Wallace. So let Wallace speak and then Pambazuka.
We had Western
Yes.
first, then Wallace.
Okay.
Western, Wallace.
Western, then Wallace, then Pambazuka.
Thank you
Western.
so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity to make some submission. I salute all of you. I salute our fallen patriots, our comrades, our soldiers committed to this cause. I wish to say something about the media. The media. I've heard the concept of genocide media. Fellow compatriots, the media is referred to as the fourth estate for good reason. Fourth estate. It means the media is the fourth leg of a democracy. Fourth leg. You've got the executive, you've got parliament, the legislature, you've got the judiciary, then you've got the media. Without that leg, then you have no democracy. You don't. And it's the media that the citizenry relies on to expose the rot by the powers that be. Because often these other three legs tend to conspire against the people. So it's the media to at all times stand by the people, raise what are called public interest issues, issues to do with human rights, issues to do with human dignity, issues to do with constitutionalism, social justice, corruption. The media should never relent. But in Kenya, unfortunately, the media is reactionary, is state-centric, panders to the state interests because of attachment, who gives them money. You've heard them complain about the government is not, giving them advice. That compromises them. Because of ownership, the media in Kenya is owned by the very, very individuals who have dominated the state for years, the Kenyattas, the Mois, and name it. So they're not independent. In fact, it's a misnomer to refer to the Kenyan media as national media. It's very parochial, which takes me to the genocide media, ladies and gentlemen, fellow compatriots. For some of us who have cared to read what happened pre-genocide Rwanda in 1994, you will come across a newspaper called Kangura newspaper, Kangura. And there was a radio station called Radio Milkoli. Those two media stations, they were instrumental in the propagation of hate speech, which provided a conducive environment for the commission of genocide in Rwanda. So when the media is irresponsible, that spells doom for all of us. It spells doom. When the media exercises self-censorship, the way the Kenyan media does, when the media plays to the cynical politics of the political elite in Kenya, today they are pandering to Uhuru Kenyatta's orchestra, demonizing William Ruto. Tomorrow, they have gyrated. They are pandering to William Ruto's orchestra. I don't know who they are demonizing. The following day, it's somebody else. It's never about the Kenyan people. That's the most unfortunate thing. Such that I used to watch Citizen TV, you know, and then you would see in the background, there was the image, I don't know whether they've removed, the image of Nyayo House. And I would ask myself, this media house, what do they mean by this symbol of Nyayo House in the background? Nyayo House, for all who care to know, a symbol of oppression, dictatorship, brutality, death. Why would a media house have that symbol in the background? And it's still even a symbol of corruption. When we're talking about passports, IDs, and what have you, it's still a symbol of bad governance, oppression, corruption, inefficiency, dysfunction. So I would ask, now a media house that can be so illiterate like this about Kenya's history, how can it inform? Because that's one of the core mandates of the media, is to inform. How can it inform? When you celebrate a legacy of oppression like that, how can you inform the Kenyan people about social justice, about human rights? You cannot. So we do have a problem with the media in Kenya. And it's not just the political elite who propagate ethnic sentiment. The media is a cog in the tribalization of the state in Kenya. Listen, when we are gearing up for elections, they'll frame the elections like a two-horse race. They will ask some candidates what they're bringing on the table. When they ask what you're bringing on the table, they're asking for your core ethnics. Do you come from the so-called populist ethnic group, such that, okay, you're such a viable presidential candidate? It's never about your policies. It's never about your morality, your ethics. It's never about where did you get your money. It's always about he has the numbers. This other candidate doesn't have the numbers. That narrative is about ethnicity. It's about tribalism. They're very integral in that. And then pandering to tribal stereotypes. They do that a lot. The media, very responsible. Some of you must have perhaps watched Churchill's show. And that show, the snippets that I got an opportunity to watch, I would ask, my stomach would churn. Because why would ethnic stereotypes constitute raw material for fun, for humor? If somebody is speaking English with their first language accent, why would that be fun? Why would that be humor? Why is it humorous? Of course, this person has got a first language. English is not their first language. French is not their first language. So why should that be a source of humor? That's not satire. Satire, you poke fun at the powers that be. That's satire. You satirize the powerful, not the powerless, not the ordinary people. That's not satire. You're making a mockery of satire. You're debasing them. and the media will broadcast those things. That's not satire. JK, there's an MP called JK. They used to satirize Moi, how Moi used to speak. That's not humor. Because if Moi at that time would turn on his TV and watch them, doing that thing, he would just feel, yeah, there's some light moment here. But if you want to know it's satire, the powers that be will fidget in their seats. They will squirm in their seats. That's satire. But these attempted to speak the way, pronounce, enunciate words the way the political elite does, that is not satire. It's not satire. And that's why the lives of John Kiari, people are wondering what became of him. What became of him? I don't think he was conscious. If he was conscious, he would really have satirized Moi. He didn't satirize Moi. And that's why he's in parliament, and it's very much part and parcel of the very excesses that Moi was accused of. So the media in Kenya, the church in Kenya, the state in Kenya, the education sector in Kenya, ladies and gentlemen, these are the most colonial of institutions in Kenya. And they're the ones that are yoking us down. They jealously guard the colonial way of doing things. And they look at people as, the ordinary Kenyans as these are not full human beings. These are superfluous people in Kenya. So they have no right to dignity. They have no right to decency. They have no right to human rights. You kill them at will. You debase them in life. You debase them in death. Chop them into pieces and dump them into some compost, site with the rubbish. So you debase them throughout. From the womb to the tomb, Kenyans are debased, ordinary Kenyans. Why? Because we have colonialists for leaders. We have colonialists for pastors and priests. We have colonialists for people in the media. We have colonialists for people in the education sector. You people, have you ever talked to Kenyan students, the kind of experiences they go through in schools in Kenya? Have you ever talked to them? You are told, oh, we were found, I don't know, doing what? And the teacher told us to go and lie out in the sun there. We cover ourselves in blankets from morning until the afternoon. And the sun, the sun along the equator is so hot. Poor kids are lying out there, outside their classrooms, covered in blankets. That is oppression. And it happens in Kenya. We say nothing about it. How did colonialists treat Kenyans? Read history. How did they treat them? Not any dissimilar from that. It's not just that way. And they will tell you they're disciplining them. How do you discipline someone by denying them of their dignity? How is that disciplining the person? Even prisoners, you don't have to break their spirits. You have to correct them. You don't have to break them. And students in Kenyan schools, especially boarding schools, are like concentration camps. So we're saying it's the entire architecture. The state and its apparatus in Kenya don't work for the Kenyan people. And it doesn't matter where you turn. You go to a public office and somebody asks you, unakuja kutafuta nini hapa? Mkubwa yuko hapa. Mkubwa yuko hapa. Come back tomorrow. Come back tomorrow, but I don't stay in Nairobi. I came from where? I traveled overnight. I came, no, ukuje kesho. Nikuje kesho. Where do I get the money to come back tomorrow? And they tell you like that in a matter of fact. They don't care. You can either jump. You go, mkubwa yuko. Mkubwa yuko, and you just wanted a signature. Signature for 1 month, for 6 months. Haujapata signature. You tu karatasi mtu aweke signature. What kind of a state is that? What kind of a state is that? And they speak to you so arrogantly, with a lot of hubris, as if they're doing you a favor, whereas they're to serve you. Because with your taxes, that sustains them. Very arrogant, very hubristic, very callous. Even in hospitals, mtu amekuja ni mgonjwa anauliza, huyu ni nani? You just lie there writhing in pain. No one gives a damn whether you die or not. We must have a society that prioritizes human life, dignity, as opposed to money, as opposed to wealth. Government spokesperson is telling us about how much was lost in billions. We're saying that kind of talk is completely aggressive. Don't make money take precedence over Kenyan lives and their dignity. You're calculating. You don't care about people who have lost their lives. You give some very conservative figures, but you'll talk about the billions that the economy has lost. You'll talk about how business people are being inconvenienced by protests, but you don't talk about human rights. You don't talk about decency. You don't talk about freedoms. You don't talk about development and prosperity for all. You care about the interest of a tiny fraction who behave like slave owners in Mississippi, or Georgia during those days in 2024 in Kenya. Folks, ladies and gentlemen, fellow compatriots, we have got our work cut out for us, and this work, more than anything, is ideational. It's about the mindset, nothing else. A revolution begins from the mind, but people think a revolution is about anarchy, is about destroying property. They don't get it. It is the mindset that we will have to think differently, and we will have to stigmatize anybody who thinks the way they've been thinking all these years, 60 odd. We will have to stigmatize anybody who insists on thinking like that. We will have to center Kenyan people, not money. We will have to stop these questions about how much money do you have before you run for this election. How many people are you bringing on board before you run for president? We will have to stop that kind of conversation, because it's what has yoked us into this servitude, into this backwardness, where we still suffer and die of preventable diseases, whereby we cannot bring to an end maternal mortality in 2024. Why would a mother who is going to a hospital to give birth, why would that be a matter of life and death in 2024? Why? Why should that be? Because we don't care about life. We don't care. Whatever happens to you, tough luck. It was bad luck. Bad luck. These things happen too often for them to just be dismissed as bad luck. So it is the mindset. The political leaders don't have that mindset. The media don't have that mindset. That's why they keep asking, what next after Ruto? This kind of people are caught up in a time warp. Honestly, they're still carrying out some very weird polls. Which cabinet minister is supposed to return? What are we? We are not like dogs which vomit and then eat their vomit. Why would you call for a government to collapse and then at the same time say so and so should come back? No, but those are the narratives they're running. There is no Kenya they've interviewed. They're running a particular narrative to corral Kenyans in a particular direction to maintain the status quo. And we're saying, no, we are wiser today. We are wiser today, and we're only getting wiser by the day. You're not going to take us for granted. We promise you. You're wiser. And that's where it matters most. The mind. That's the power we have. Nothing else. They have the guns. But I can tell you for free, the mind, the pen will always prevail over the gun. Will always prevail over gunpowder any day. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's soldier on. For only freedom is what we are yearning for, and we'll get it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. Thank you very much. We're not being biased, but we give Sheila a bit of more time because he's a realist. We want you to speak that truth, that uncomfortable truth, those factual facts that we really need to table, those things that are really affecting us, those things that they're trying to blind us. You're blinded with security, you're blinded with Christianity, you're blinded with you want to ban your country. Who would want to ban Kenya? We all live in Kenya. So we're not going to be blinded by that. We need those factual hard truths that we are dealing with. We speak about them, and we speak about them as a matter of fact, not as if we are begging. You go to governmental offices, you're always begging for services. Why should you go through that? Kowino, I lost your rest of track on the next speaker kindly. I just wanted to add more to what Sheila said.
Thank you. Thank you, Weston, so much. It's always good to have you here. Guys, like Birila said, it's not that we're being biased. He's always a political analyst, and he always hits the points home. Wallace, you're up next, brother. How are you?
I'm doing good. If you can hear me, let me just see any sort of like 100 or something. Excellent.
Yes, I can hear you, but would you mind getting closer to the mic? A little bit closer.
Am I better now?
Yes, better.
Perfect. Man, as I listen to these conversations, I'm feeling so blessed to be a Kenyan. Kujua kuna wazalendo kuja pamoja kwa ujenzi upya wa Kenya. That's why we are here. We love our country. I've been happy to hear Ismail saying it's time to be ready to die for our country. Surely, if patriotism is not being ready to give your life for the fellow Kenyans that you love, what is it? And also, I think it's also marvelous to see that since we are soldiering on, people like Rex and those who have already died before, their sacrifice is not in vain. I think it would be important for any one of us to know that should anything, God forbid, happen, Kenyans are not going to be scared away from liberating this country once and for all. So I think I really appreciated his statements, and as well as Easter. Easter really charged me up. She was so mad, she was shaking, and it's because I'm of the same persuasion. I also believe that there's this the connection between religion and relationship that the church had, that has been there before, has been misused in its religious format to misguide a lot of Kenyans. And in that respect, it has been anointing people who are obviously and outrightly in the wrong. Think about, because even the African church likes to copy the American church. Look at the people they've been trying to anoint their saints. For example, a guy like Trump, though I'm trying not to go too much into politics, but that obviously there's a disconnect between the behavior of the person they want to endorse and that they are claiming to be a particular faith. So I agree with Easter and even Gloria, and I think also there needs to be a cleanup, like an Occupy church. In fact, I want to urge we come together also as people who are eager to see the church clean up its act. We start having some spaces to highlight that there's a difference. Being for God does not mean you stomach injustice or you stomach foolishness in our country. And I think also Onyango pointed out that we have to have new strategies, chess strategies. I've said this before in spaces. We can't have the same old way of protesting where we say on Tuesday we are going to be 5 million. They now know they're in the spaces. They'll just wait there. Gen Zs will shed a bit more blood. But the idea is, let's change our tact. Let's change our strategy. As somebody was saying, you then have to be there. We can like now Gloria, the way she's saying, we can have our media strategy. For me, protests, I've been trying to say, we can now have a protest where everybody gets engaged, where we say we are all just going to go to town, normally dressed, so that business doesn't stop. But we agree on that specific day, maybe at noon, we will all stop together, wherever we are. I don't know if you remember, there was a time Kenyans used to call it Feb 28th. On the 28th of February, we would have a time we would stop, everybody sings the anthem. But then we would say, what was that going to gain then? But now it's a difference. Now we have a momentum. Now when we do that, we sing our anthem, and then we can proceed to say whatever is the hashtag of the day. Of course, the Ruto must go is always there. But the idea is we look up for that way businesses don't have to close. All Kenyans can participate, everybody in the office, everybody, because and then we record, make sure we record it and put it, we'll find a common, maybe media space to put online. So we have to shift our tact. It can't, there's other way. I like that idea of media hashtags being pushed on different days of the week. I like that Kenyans are thinking differently. That's how we need to do it. We can start even boycotting products. So we said, if we know a hotel, we don't need to burn down stuff. You say, if you know these people have stolen money and opened this business, we can say we are going to be ignoring, we won't engage those services. We'll be boycotting services and products, and they'll feel it. Even some of these American companies that maybe are working together with IMF, if we know who it is, we could say we are boycotting Coca-Cola products, for example, and they'll feel it. They'll feel it, but definitely local, because these guys, remember, when they steal all this money, they have to convert it into something to launder that money back into real cash. So it's usually real estate, it's usually businesses. They have to make it something that can clean their money. If that Gen Z intelligence we've been seeing can find out these are all the businesses owned by these people, immediate boycotts. That one hits them in their pockets because they need money they need to clean their money. We need to have a new strategy for how we are protesting, one that engages, because as we said before, all generations are in support. We are letting Gen Z take the lead. Gen Z has taken the guts and said, guys, we are willing to be on the forefront. We know they'll shoot us. We know they'll do all this crazy stuff. They'll arrest us. But we who are older than them must support that movement by saying, hey, there are days we will be in town, but we will stand together and sing the anthem. And by the way, I've stated this also, that one of the amazing things about Kenya is our national anthem is a prayer. So I think since independence, we've been singing this prayer without knowing it. And now, finally, after 60 years and 61 years of rubbish, he has answered it with a Gen Z that has come and said, we are tribeless. That dimension of tribeless is what has, because of it brings unity, is what has enabled the Gen Z movement to be what it is today. And remember, the devil has no new tricks. If there's anything this government or anybody who hates Kenya wants to do, is to divide us along whatever means they can. They know the oldest thing that used to work was ukabila. So they are not giving up it completely, but they are trying classism. There was a time they were saying these Gen Zs are just people with iPhones and using Uber. What do you think that was? That was a push to try and say that you're not, these are just spoiled brats who are trying to bring about this cause. So we have to refuse the old tricks. They're going to try tribalism. They'll try everything. You've seen, as we've said, it's shocking to see opposition trying to merge with government. This gentleman, whom we've respected so long, I have told people that Gen Z might not, were too young to know this. When the first time Kenyans were out to remove KANU from power, and all people had joined in one opposition, this gentleman sold his party that was called NDP to KANU. He's the one who enabled KANU to survive. So it's not a new thing he's doing. He's always been a political survivor. People couldn't see it. People couldn't see it. So he's just playing the old playbook. As it's been clarified, they have all put themselves on one side. We know it's about a new generation. When you're doing something new, you format completely, you put new software, new operating system. We remove them en masse. So we need to realize that we don't accept, since it's a partless thing, we don't accept tribal kingpins, we don't accept any division along class, and then we be wary. I like what Westerners put about the fourth estate. Remember, the fourth estate is the reason why you find big shots always like to own media, because with media you can influence the way people are thinking. That's why you see the Rupert Murdochs and all those people. They use media and entertainment to influence people. Actually, entertainment is also a form of lulling humanity, okay? Because we have to know there's a bigger game at play here. There are people called globalists who want to control the whole world. But you need to do your own research for that. But religion, remember, religion is not a relationship. I want to be clear about that. Religion and entertainment are the opium of the masses. Those are the two most powerful tools they use to keep you in a state of foolishness, like in a trance. Your whole life rotates from you're in the rat race one day, in the evening you're in the entertainment space. You're just focused on the Premier League. You think Arsenal is your team. Manchester United, when they win the Premier League, do they send you money? Do they send you a share of the money? When Argentina wins, because you think it's your team, do they send you any money? I'm not saying you don't support teams, but you be clear to know that this is just entertainment. This is just for fun. I need to be able to look at my country and see what issues are going on and what needs to be addressed. So this kind of space is exciting because I'm seeing Wazalendo waking up. We have been wananchi for long enough. We used to say we are wananchi, they are wenyenchi. And it was true. They own everything. And for us, we're just saying that's Bwanam. Gen Z has made Kenyans wake up and realize, we, since the promulgation of the new constitution, we, the people, are in charge. They do what we command. Your employee doesn't question. You state it, it's an order, it's not a request. So it's time for us even to put them in their place, to remind them you've been wabunge. You stopped being waheshimiwa a long time ago. So realize that the fourth estate is open to, fourth estate is about making profit. not progress. They will sell what is, as we say, sexy news. What will sell the newspaper? That's all the fourth estate cares about. So it doesn't matter who is in power. The question is, what will make our papers sell? Our people watch our news, because when people are watching news, they are getting money from adverts. Adverts, the big companies are throwing the adverts in the middle of the news. That's how they make their money. Adverts in the newspaper. The main money is, besides the cost of the newspaper, is the advertisement in the newspaper. That's why if it reaches a point we start identifying companies that are anti the movement, we will boycott their products. We don't care whether it's a local company or an international company. We change tact. Let's stop. We know our young people are ready to die for Kenya. That's why we should say, we who are on the keyboards and behind our laptops and whatever, surely if the young people have put their lives on the line, they can be on TV today, like, let's say, Kasmuel. He's on Citizen making orders, and we will not take this rubbish, we should resign. And he's still ready to go on the street. Don't you realize if these guys want to take him out, they would just pretend he was hit by us. He's right there on the street protesting. And for us, why should we be afraid we are behind a keyboard? We can be picked, fine. I mean, it's happened. Social media, but fast, a lot of influencers were bought. They told themselves being behind a keyboard is not, I can't lose my life for that. But the idea is, if you are truly a person who stands for justice, you are beyond being bought. And the power of the Gen Z movement, also besides being blessed, is that it's a true cause. It's based on truth, on justice, on that anthem that we pray to God. Haki iwe ngao na ulinzi for this country, and for us to tayari kuilinda. We are living right now our anthem. We've been praying it. We've been singing it. That's why we do a protest where we say on Monday at noon, all Kenyans, wherever they are, here and abroad, we are stopping to sing the anthem. We've done it before. It's not a new idea. And then when we finish, we remind the statement, Ruto must go, and we chant it even if it's for 5 minutes. The message still comes through. And we are recording, and we are sharing it. And we tell him right now, you fired yourself from that seat. Nobody pushed you out. The moment you killed the first protester, that was one too many. You fired yourself. You are just now resident Ruto. You're nothing more than that. I've seen people sharing something written, they're not my president. Me added, he's just now a resident, and definitely not my president. I didn't even vote for him, but that doesn't matter. The point is, again, a good revelation. That's why I love Wazalendo. Wazalendo, we are very smart. We have realized whichever side we had voted, we can see now very clearly the difference would have been the same. They are still puppets, no matter which side you go. That's why it has to be a clean sweep. I don't care who you loved before. I don't care where your affiliation was before. It has become obviously clear that people who have been dynasties before, who have been stealing before, don't want there to be any transition that brings liberation to the ordinary mwananchi of Kenya. That's why we all have to become wazalendo. Beyond, we cannot be citizens who you send somebody to represent you and then you sit back and you hope things will happen. We are going to be in a place where, because we are the people, we have a system that helps us put our voice together and our choice together. For those who've had me in this space before, I said we've started creating a technology for that. Put it in the comments, called mkura.vote. And I'll not go too deep into it. If you want to follow it up, you'll see it or just remember that word, like the way you write M-Pesa, mkura.vote. I've put a link for a Telegram group, so I'm inviting guys who, again, the way we are pulling ideas here, let's meet there. It's, again, leaderless, it's tribeless, it's not about focusing on any specific faith as much it is very value-based and principle-based. What we need is we bring all these ideas together, we concentrate them, we focus them. Remember, light, when you focus light, it becomes a laser beam. The most dangerous weapons human beings can make. Concentrated light. So that unity is part of that concentration. We come together, we have different ideas, we have different ways of looking at things. Like that's why I'm saying I love that concept of we can commit different days of the week to a specific hashtag. A day for corruption. Like if you see my t-shirt on my profile. It's Ukabila ni Ujinga. I was singing that from 2008, 2010, after the first post-election, but the 2007 post-election violence. You can have an ufisadi ni Ujinga. I point out that Kenyatta came and said that we are going to fight three things: Ujinga, umaskini, and ugonjwa. What he left out was ufisadi and ukabila. Can any one of us deny that they did not use those two things since independence to date? So they focused on three U's. They left the two most potent U's. Because let me tell you, ufisadi and ukabila play with each other. When a guy is caught in ufisadi, he jumps behind ukabila. Ukabila is his shield. Oh, people, that's why by Gen Z slaying that Goliath, it has dismembered all these fake leaders in one fell swoop. They have nothing to hide behind. Kenyans refuse to see ourselves as specific. We are Kenyans. We are human beings. You will not kill our children. You will not kill us and then think you will lead us. We will not relent. And that's why this movement, I'm telling you, I'm feeling blessed to be a Kenyan to know that even if I was the one to go, you guys will not quit. That unity is what will make us, it will make this thing unstoppable. They can't kill all those Kenyans. And as we've been told, even by Ismail, I think it was Ismail, I've forgotten his name, that even people in the armed forces are for us. Some of them, enough. They have a conscience. They are our brothers. They are our sisters. So even part of our movement should be, can we start also agitating for the improvement of their lives? They don't live well. We know they live in tin houses. Let part of our agenda, maybe one of the days, be the improvement of all services, including the lifestyles of. So that we are not their enemies. They know we are not their enemies. We are against injustice. They became policemen to protect citizens from thieves. Now citizens have said, no, the thieves are the ones giving you orders. And we have evidence, and you know it. So we have to say we shift from being just regular citizens, patriots, ready to sacrifice, ready to push ourselves, ready to support Gen Z. So we have learned that there's no difference between opposition, the old opposition and these old governments, and that's what we have to stand up against. I'm finishing. I know I need to hand over the mic. I'm just reminding you that we need to say that the power of our movement, of this movement for Gen Zs, is its integrity. I want you to remind you that Gandhi liberated India from the British powers without using force, just that moral authority. And you remember it was called Satyagraha, if you remember your history. They did not need to use violence. Mandela didn't use, South Africa was not liberated through gunshots and bullets. They used ballots. And now that's why for us, we want to make sure that ballot is protected. That's why we are talking about Vote is about using blockchain to protect Kenyans' votes. So we have a system that is beyond manipulation of any IBC. I won't go too much, but I'll put the link again. So let's remember that the strength of this movement is its moral authority. It is stronger than the government in numbers, and it is stronger than the government because we are standing on the right side of history. We are standing for justice, we are standing for truth, we are standing for what is in the anthem. So, and then we need to remember that we are part of geopolitics. The reason this guy went and wanted to be part of, I don't know, a non-NATO ally or whatever, we as Kenyans, when we start speaking as we the people, that's why we want to concentrate our voice using technology. We will say we are not partaking in any world cold wars or hot wars. We are not for BRICS. We are not against BRICS. We are not for NATO. We are not against NATO. We are just for humanity. They don't pull us into their wars. If they put their bases on Kenyan soil, when those guys want to bomb, they'll bomb Kenya. What did Kenya have? Don't you remember the Kenyan embassy was bombed in 2008? We were not part of, we have not been part of, we have been just collateral damage. And at that time we were angry because the American media had the audacity to only report how many Americans died. They were saying 200 Americans died, CNN, in a bombing in Kenya. We asked them, what do you mean? Over 3,000 Kenyans died. in those stupid bomb blasts. So remember, the world, they only see us as they've been thinking we're just backward, a dark continent, but we are shocking them by waking up to become we the people that even America has never been that we the people. They've been stuck in their racism and in their foolishness, in the sense that as long as you are divided along racial lines, you are not wise. Likewise, as Kenya, we refuse to be divided, especially along ethnic lines. So I want to urge you again, so that I know I've taken a lot of airtime. I wanted to keep it real. I've been told it's important to keep it real. I'm just restating this the last time. The way we get strong, now let's unite our voice. We already have the same, we all know one thing that is playing in all our heads. Ruto must go. Not because we hate him. Let's say because we hate corruption, Ruto must go. He's made himself that. Because we hate injustice, Ruto must go. He's been murdering children. For goodness sake, in Nairobi, if you are caught stealing a phone for Amulika Mwizi, 3,000, and somebody says, Mwizi, aren't you going to be lynched by Kenyans? Because you are stealing something for 3,000 shillings, and we don't know even, maybe you are honestly hungry. You are looking for a way to make money. Have you ever heard of Kenyans when they find somebody has killed his wife? What happens to that gentleman? He doesn't get to court. He doesn't even get to jail. But here, these guys killing us, using the police that should protect us to kill us, to kidnap us, using the NIS that should be spying on terrorists trying to infiltrate our population, is from without, to kill, to abduct us, to try and interact, to bring us into scary rooms, to ask us, why are you fighting for your rights? Tried to use the army. The army should protect Kenya from external forces. They put the army in Nairobi City. The Gen Z's foreign armies are coming with a flag and water and saying we are peaceful. Meekness is not weakness, my friends. They need to know that. The fact that this movement is humble doesn't mean it's weak. And that's why I'm saying, let's unite our voice. Let's reach a point where we have a thing where we can say the Kenyan people have voted together. 30 million Kenyans have said, these are the requirements for the CSs. These are the requirements for IBC. We will be stating, we will not be requesting. And it's all within the Constitution. So even if you are picked up, let them show you, first of all, what have I said? What have I said that is against the Constitution? So let's unite our voice. They can't deny it. When Ruto speaks, he's speaking for him and whoever is in his. How many people are in the Kenya Kwanza team? They only have one vote each. So when 30 million Kenyans or 10 million Kenyans are able to speak in one voice, we are going to use technology to fuse that voice into an incorruptible blockchain vote. They cannot corrupt it. They cannot hack it. It does sit in one server.
Wind up, Alice. Okay,
so I'm done, guys. Let me paste for you the links in the comments. But let's keep at it. I'm blessed to be a Kenyan. For those who are Christians, let's clean up church as well. Maybe let's follow each other. I think now from what I heard from East, I was so fired up. I think that's the next spaces we'll start doing, because the old religion system really let down Kenya, and we have to let the real thing stand up. Thanks, guys. God bless you all. God bless Kenya. I'm still listening in. Thanks.
Thank you. Pambazuka, are you there? Can we try to keep it short and brief, guys, so that we have more
Hello,
people coming
everyone.
in?
Can you hear me? I think I was next. I cannot hear the co-host, even though I see his mic is off. Kowino.
Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you. Okay, thank you so much. I do not want to repeat. All the speakers who came before me were saying exactly what I was thinking. Mine is to say that I'm so encouraged as well. And I have been thinking about how anxious dictators and wavering democracies around the globe are just building up. It's not just Kenya. They are the worst of the worst that are still struggling for the freedoms that Gen Z have been fighting for us. And I am so encouraged, like everyone else. What I loved the most, and just let's get to work on this, because me, I'm not on the ground, but I want to help in any way. that strategic messaging of the movement on Monday, exposing lies on Tuesday, it was such a good idea, because I think that's how we don't have to pay attention to the propaganda that they're spewing out there. We can just stay in our lane. I also wanted to just shed light on the brilliance that resides amongst us as Kenyans. Having lived in the US for many, many years, when I hear about things like M-Copper, the first image that comes to mind are these Americans, white, black, who look at it with ogling eyes. M-Copper, M-Pesa, M-Kura, now, and they're like, oh, Africa has been deemed the last frontier since 2013. I believe it was Time magazine that started touting it being the place. It was deemed in the scramble for Africa during imperialism. Everybody was scrambling in 1914 or so. And now Time magazine in 2013 talks about it as the last frontier, okay? And since 2013, we've seen the brittle authoritarian counterparts fighting for a fresh start on the continent, because with their overlapping crises, they have nowhere to turn but to Africa. The last time I flew from the US to Kenya, it was full of young teenage white American missionaries. And I was shocked. They have been climbing in number, coming to Kenya to spread the gospel. And yet you don't even hear them saying anything now about, what is going on. I've been following here, and I'm saying, what do they want? What do they want? So you can see that there's been mention of the global interests that Kenya. It's so what I want to say is this, because I don't want to repeat anything anybody has said. I just want to say, come on, somebody. If we have amongst our midst somebody who can create a blockchain technology to protect our votes, do you know that's money? Okay, that is money, and it's also political. It's like putting a deposit in the bank before the time comes when you have to withdraw it. These are the kinds of conversations we should continue having. The quiet, intellectual, smart strategies, because we're dealing with morons out there, greedy pigs who don't even hata hawezi kuelewa internet ni nini. Let's just take over, and so, yeah, I don't want to repeat myself, and I want to drop down and listen to all the other wonderful speakers I've been following, because, I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot. And believe you me, here in the US, we have issues, okay? And we want to come back home. We don't want to be here in the quote-unquote diaspora, disseminating our money that we don't even know what it's doing. Give us some work to do. I'm ready with my keyboard. Asanteni sana. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Next, I had West King, then Professor, then Duncan J. Let's keep it brief, guys, please, because we have a lot of requests, over 40 requests. Let's exhaust this set of speakers, then we can bring in new speakers. West King, can you hear me?
Yeah, unanipata?
Yes, I'll put the timer on now. We'll have 3 minutes each because requests zimekuwa mingi ajabu.
Fiti, haina noma. Kwanza nataka kushukuru KOT kwa host space. Sababu nadhani nilimwacha huku kama almost saa 8 usiku bado akiwa kwa space akihost, but your speakers walikuwa wengi, but I want to be very fast because umesema watu ni wengi. Kuna vitu tu nimeangalia. Ya kwanza nilikuwa nataka kuongelea ni wasee wanakonga wametubeba ufa. Jamaa kuna msee ameongelea kuhusu story ya blockchain hapo hivyo, na kuna mtu alikuwa ameiongelea blockchain ifanye kazi kwa ministry zote kutoka kwa president mpaka chini, all public offices, so that itakuwa ni rahisi kufuatilia ni aje hii ilitumika wapi na ilitumika vipi na ilitumika lini. So hiyo kitu ya blockchain ni kitu poa, na kama hata inaweza enda hiyo itumike mpaka hata kwa election, so that elections zitakuwa ngumu kufanya nini, kuiba. So alafu kuna nilikuwa na echo statements za speaker mwenzangu mwenye ametoka akisema ni aje, we have to think about new strategies on how to beat these people on their own game, because saizi najua hata venye tuko hapa ndani kuna ma CID, kuna ma DCI wanatusikiza hapa pia. Sisi lazima tutafute njia yenye tutawaka pamoja to beat these guys. Nani inasema okay, sisi we are leaderless, tunasema hiyo, but kuna kitu nilikuwa nataka kusema na mzee aliongea asubuhi. Ile maandamano yenye ilikuwa the most successful ukiangalia pia ni ile ilifanyika in almost all counties Kenya. Ikifanyika hivyo then unapata hawa polisi tunawaskata, hawawezi kuwa mahali pamoja waitwe. Kama ni hapa Nairobi for example, tuseme JKIA, waitwe wote wakuje JKIA kutupiga hizo tear gas na nini. Tuna make sure inafanyika Kiambu, inafanyika wapi, inafanyika so that wanakaa kwa makaunti zao na constituencies zao. So mimi ningesema we need to re-strategize na tuanze kupatana kutoka kwa constituency county levels. Hata kama tutakuwa leaders in shifts, si lazima tukue ati na sijui nini. Tunaweza sema hii because kama saa hizi kuna watu walikuwa naleta maji tao na magari nini, najua kuna venye kulikuwa na coordination. So tunaweza kuwa tunasema ni aje, for example Kisii County we fulani na fulani na fulani ndio tunaenda kutumia hii siku. Tunaangalia venye tunaweza watumia kakitu wanabai labda hiyo maji na nini. So county zote hivyo then tuna meet kwa county levels. Kutoka kwa county levels then tutagrow pole tukuje kusema ni aje sasa tunataka watu wote jamaa wasafiri waikuje Nairobi. Unaona, tufanye maandamano yetu mahali fulani. Then I talked about hizi maandamano, state house ni mingi. Wacha tu hizi state house ni mingi, tunaweza enda state house yoyote na tukae huko. Sio lazima tuende hii state house ya Nairobi. Kitu kingine nilikuwa nataka kuguzia hii issue ya kuna msee alisema okay, wakina Okio Mtata tuna wakina kama Bowina wa politicians kuingilia. At times kuna movie nilikuwa na watch ya kitambo ya Rambo akiambia msee fulani I like fighting from the inside. Unajua? So as long as tuna wasee wachache wenye wako pale ndani, si wote wabaya. Unajua? Lakini as long as tuna wale wasee wachache wako pale ndani yenye na tunajua wanapigania hii movement. Tunajua kuna counties pia, magavana. Hizi maandamano hata zikifanyika unazijua, hata sisi tunazijua poa sana. Unajua county fulani huyu ana support, county fulani huyu ana support, MPs wana support huyu na huyu na huyu. Tuna viongozi everywhere. So these leaders, let us not scare them away ati sasa we don't need politicians, don't want you to talk in our platform or whatever that tunawafukuza kabisa. Hapana, wacha tuwalete pia karibu. Wacha pia tuwalete karibu so that we fight from the outside and inside, because kuna mahali itafika tunataka watufanyie vitu zingine zenye zitakuwa zinataka kufanyika either kwa Senate ama kwa parliament. Then kitu kingine ni ya hizi wanajeshi. Wanajeshi kuna time Ruto alikuwa anasema sijui I'm the commander in chief of the armed forces, mtajua mjui. Hii juzi ametuletea wanajeshi huku. So kuna msee aliulizwa ni aje mbona mlete wanajeshi kwa streets za Kenya alafu mtume polisi huko Haiti. Huyo msee ana reason, anasema ati tumetuma mapolisi Haiti sababu wamesoma law and order, to reinforce law and order. Ati wanajeshi wangeenda huko wanajeshi wanajuanga tu ni vita ya kupiga watu na kuua. So yani sisi in our own country tunaletewa wanajeshi kwa street, ndugu zetu na dada zetu na baba zetu wakuje sisi kutupiga, lakini Haiti tunatumati because maaskari wanaenda huko kuongea, wanajua sheria, ati they are going to kuleta law and order huko Haiti. What kind of thinking is that? What kind of thinking is that? Tunafaa tuangalie vitu kama hizo sana. Such a thinking ni very reckless na nini sana. Alafu kitu kingine nilikuwa nataka kuongelea, labda point zangu za mwisho ni hiyo. Okay, hiyo nimegusia hiyo ya nini, hiyo kufanya maandamano kila mahali so that our police wakue scattered, wakue kila mtu wako busy. Unaona walikuwa overwhelmed ile time yenye tulikuwa tunafanya maandamano kila constituency. Hawatoki kwa constituency za watu, walikuwa watu wanaangalia mpaka hata bindi huko Kikuyu huko kwa Kimani Chungwa. Walikuwa tu wanaangalia CDF ikichoma because hakuna kitu yenye yote wanaweza do, because wananchi ni wengi and they are agitated. Mimi nawaambia hao MPs hata watarudi bunge hivi karibuni, hao wenyewe tena ndio wataturudisha kwa barabara because of their policies, because vitu watakuwa wanaongea na kupitisha. See the likes of kina Naosoro, vitu wanaongea yani akifungua tu mdomo yake hivi ameudhi watu more than 10 million. watarudi parliament na utaona nao ndio wataturudisha tu hiyo tao CBD. Hivi karibuni tu utaona mtu akiongea bunge ke upuzi tena amushe tena maki zetu tena juu kabisa. So ni sisi tu strategize tujue ni aje hii maandamano sasa. We need to take a new nini, tunajua ni aje tuna hit hapa kidogo tuna retreat. Retreating sio kuogopa, retreating mtu na retreat kujipanga na kuangalia ni aje. So kitu ya point zangu mbili za mwisho ningeongelea mazejo, hata huyu Sakaja huyu governor wetu pia natubeba ufala. Sasa hatuwezi kuwa tunakati kukojoa town ni 20 bob, macho ni chafu, ati tunakojoa town na 20 bob, na alikuwa anatuletea maji na matanka na mapipa siku ya maandamano zile za kwanza. Huyo pia yeye inafaa tena tumsalimie tena huyo Sakaja, because hatuwezi ati ukienda choo ati ni 20 bob. Then ya mwisho yangu nikimalizia KOT ni okay, kuna huyu msee aliniudhi sana jana, but kuna msemo usemanga when a mosquito falls in your testicles you don't need a hammer to kill it. Hutaki ama. Kuna huyu msee anaitwa Okanga aliongea upuzi sana jana, na mimi naona Nuru Okanga ashindane Eric Omondi akiongea kwa video zake. That guy hata kizungu hata hawezi ongea. Hata ukisikia hiyo video yake venye alikuwa anaongea hata unaweza ati anasema ati GNZ ati Ruto piga hao risasi tengeneza kichungi. Mimi nataka huyu Nuru Okanga, kwani nauliza hapo Jakaranda hakuna ma-GNZ, hakuna watu wenye yani waliona anaongea upuzi. Huyu guy amefinywa na ma-CID huko na ma-DCI huko, amefinywa ma-KI. Sasa anaona sisi anaweza tuongelesha upuzi. This guy anafaa patikane mahali afanyiwe ka justice kidogo tu, ka justice kidogo, uso ifure hivi nini, afanyiwe ka justice. So mi yangu ni hao jamaa namalizia, na hashtag bado ni ile Ruto must go. Let us not retreat, your chance tuko nayo. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
West King. Next, Professor, ni wewe.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I have 3 minutes and I have to keep that. I've had the good presentations that my friends have given, and I would like to start from the last speaker who has spoken, and we should not argue with fools. That's what Babowino said, and I believe that whatever Nuru Okanga was speaking has been paid by the government to speak it, so that he diverts your mind from the real cause of action. So to speak about only 3 things, and I hope maybe each one of them will take a minute also. I could have loved a lot of time to explain these concepts better, but let me just be brief. First of all, you have to understand for every force, there is an equal force which is opposite. So if the force at which the Gen Z and the millennials came, where I fall, the government was going to respond with an equal and opposite force. That's a law in physics. Now, look at what the government has done. There are tactics that it has employed. First of all, it has used violence and repression, whereby there is the use of police and military to force and intimidate, injure, and kill innocent protesters. The next tactic that the government has at its disposal, and it has used effectively, is the idea of arrests and detentions. We have seen all that happen. There is also surveillance, whereby I know even here they are monitoring our communications, activities, and also sometimes preemptively toward the plans. For instance, Occupy Uhuru Park, they have already issued something that's now under legal restriction. They implement laws to criminalize protests. And whatever I've read the letter, and the guy is talking about the acting IG, is talking about the international laws and blah, blah, you don't have readers. That's why we cannot allow you to. They are trying to find a loophole in the legal arena so that they can criminalize the protests. And also they used the idea of using guns and saying how much the country has lost is a way of trying to kill the movement. And to some extent, they are gaining ground because there are people who fear dying and they have decided to stay at home. Also, sometimes don't forget, there are 2 major instruments that the government uses. That's infiltration and also propaganda. Among us here,
among the people who are championing for Ruto must go, there is also people who are pro-government. They are telling you Ruto must go, let us go fight, and then finally they disappear. They disappear all once you are almost going to State House, like when we were to State House, they pop in among us and say, no, we should not go. So now what can we do? That has been the question that most people are asking. What should we do? What strategies can we change? In my view, there are 3 strategies that we have not implemented yet. And one of them is what we call we should have we should make sure that we go to grassroots. We form what we refer as formation of assemblies, small groups. You meet and discuss. That's how the movement now becomes stronger, and come up with resolutions from the grassroots areas. As we speak, I'm in one of the rural areas. I don't want to say where. And I was surprised to find that the youths in those rural areas don't know what is happening in Kenya. Some of them don't even know why people are on streets. They don't know where these people mobilize themselves and why should they come out. So I had to explain to some of them. I spent around 2 or 3 days trying to explain exactly what is it that we are fighting for. And you find that these people don't have that information. So we can think about forming assemblies and meeting kwa mahali tunakutana pale tunakunywa chai somewhere. These small groups can help us achieve that goal. The second thing that we have not really tried to use very much is the idea of trying to see where does the government get its most revenue from, and one of it was the central business of the central businesses of Nairobi and major cities, where we have been carrying our protests. And that's why you see the government is banning you from going to the city, so that you can picket anywhere, even in your shamba, because they believe if the city keeps on running, then they are going to achieve. If it does not keep on running, then we are going to achieve nothing. So that's I think that's the strategy they are trying to use. So I agree with one of the person who said that we should try and occupy all roads. Now, if we close all roads, we are ensuring that the government is not getting revenue from the roads, and we should also look at companies like Safaricom. We can decide and boycott them. These institutions, these billionaires and businesses can put pressure on Ruto even to resign, because they're the one financing the activities of the government. So if the government loses revenue, then it will lose money that is going to pay the goons that are running in form of police. The police, if the police miss their salaries, then they will also join us, because they will think, okay, they are fighting for a losing cause. Okay, so my last submissions, I have a lot to talk, but I can just be brief because that's my profession and I'm a professor. Then what should we do and what should we not do? Now, first of all, since we are leaderless, we should try and make sure that we crush our enemy totally. Crush our enemy totally. I agree with one of us. If we leave Ruto now, Ruto must go. Tukimwachilia saa hii na strategies zenye anatumia, my friend, you will not like it. You will not like it. Mtaona fire. So we have to keep the pressure moving on. Then also we must concentrate our forces. We should focus on efforts on key targets and maximize impact. What is really making this our movement try to seem like haiko? It's because tumekuwa na very many targets. Wakati tulikuwa na targets in parliament, we achieved it. When we wanted the ministers to go, we achieved it. When we wanted the IG to go, we have achieved it. Now, what do we want next? So we should have targets. We should reach the targets and concentrate on one target. That's the moment we can break that. Okay, and then also we should make sure that we think as we like, but behave like others. Think as you like, fikiria vile unataka, but behave as others. Let us be a group. I think if we go that way, we are going to succeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, Duncan.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Asante sana. Mimi nasema ni kuendelea yangu is 3 points. Tuesday nilikuwa town, it was very bad, and ukiona venye watu wanashutiwa, sometimes unaisha psych, but we started this thing, so they are reacting to it. So it was not there, and for us to know it's big, Rao na Ruto wana meet. Hiyo ni kitu tunafaa to celebrate. We should not feel like hatufanyi anything. These are two big guys wenye wangeongea last year. Basi tumewafanya wakae kwa meza waongee. So I know when you are pushing kitu mzito, sometimes unachoka. So as one of the guys said, kuretreat sio uoga. So tumeisukuma round 1, tuna pull back kidogo, tuna reorganize. Another thing yenye tunaweza tumia ndio tusikimbizane na mbio zao. So they are reacting, so we should not be reacting. Tukae chini kufanya strategy ingine. So every time we have to make sure they are the ones reacting, not us. Another thing, najua Tuesday hatukutokea watu wengi, lakini one guy did kulikuwa na space ya usiku akasema as much as watu wakutokea, the effect biashara hazikufunguliwa, and that's what we want, so that hii information yetu itoke. Point number 2, kwa hii movement yote kuna watu watakuwa wenye wako against us. Hata ukiangalia Burkina Faso, there was this guy mwenye alifanya overthrow before Traore, Damiba. So walikuwa wanafikiria wako bot moja wote, but Damiba after kuingia kuna kitu moja alifanya, watu wakarealize enyewe huyu msee ako side yetu, and that's why Traore overthrow. Hakukaa sana, alikaa very few months. So even kwa hii mission yetu kuna watu watatusaidia watufikishe mahali, but then wako side yetu. Tukirealize au tunawatoa, then we continue going forward. Mwisho ni kuna watu wanatupatia pressure mingi ya kudecide the way forward, and the speaker mwenye amekuwa hapo mbele amesema we need to focus. So when we ask this question, what is the way forward, fanya nini, inatufanya tukue divided. So we just need to pick one thing na tukwame nayo. So after Tuesday nilikuwa nimeisha ari, lakini after kuja kwa hizi spaces naona wase tumejikaza, so tusikufe moyo. I would rather be watu wachache wenye wako committed kuliko watu wengi wenye watatutoa saika hapa mbele. So that's my submission.
Thank you. Thank you, Duncan. Lisa? Lisa, are you there? Lisa? Okay, Lisa is not there. Ebu 6 uliza Lisa kama ananisikia. 6 or KOT. Okay. Mzalendo?
Let me ask, Lisa, can you listen? Can you hear Koino speak? Lisa going once. Lisa,
let's move to Mzalendo.
Ni kama yuko.
Yes, Mzalendo. Interesting. Mzalendo mimi tu mkono sasa amefunga mic na shapotea. Mzalendo?
Chani muulize Mzalendo, uko hapo? Are you there, Mzalendo?
Okay.
Biril, can you hear us? Just Biril?
Yes, I can hear you guys. I think the problem is from their side. I can hear you both.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Redemptor, Mikali?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, KOT. Najua tulilala jana saa 9, and you've been here before me, so well done. Keep the fire burning. And all the other co-hosts and the people who've spoken before me since morning. I just want to remind you that 51 Kenyans have died, and it is unacceptable. I hate old men who kill young men. So I'm here as a mtetezi, as a mwandishi, na kama mzazi. And so while you're saying you cannot kill us and leaders, I am saying you cannot kill our children, and we have any respect for you. So the young people told us the revolution will be televised. And we are telling the powers that be that your atrocities will be documented. And where the fourth estate has failed us, the fifth estate is doing a great job because we have thousands and thousands with cameras. The president has refused to read the mood. So maybe I just need to remind him, you cannot kill us and lead us. You cannot kill our children, and we forgive you because you've lived your whole life. And so has Raila, you've lived your whole life. I've heard people say, let's get united. We are not united, but I can assure you again, we are united by conviction. We are united by oppression. So that every time people say this is going to fizzle out, shule zitafungwa, Gen Alpha will come and they will be angry when they see the images. Come election time, I'm very excited to see my old friend Wallace. Is an expert with IT, so if he says our votes will be safe, I can guarantee you he's committed to social justice. The ukabila ni ujinga thing, I can vouch for that. He has been on that. So you are the every day a young person goes out there ready to get killed. And that is an honorable thing. And every time an older person goes there ready to kill, you can think you're untouchable, but this movement is going to become unstoppable. So the more you oppress people, the more they come out and unite. So again, just to pass condolences, I have been documenting atrocities. People have been hurt by the state, either by omission or commission, from 2017, and the number has grown so much, I would have gotten depressed if Gen Z had not come and taken the lead and said, enough is enough. So the conviction is you all know that you need IDs. So we need to have groups, clusters, in as much as they're saying we are leaderless. Everyone is being led by what they are good at and what has annoyed them about this. Just a kind reminder that I keep hearing you mention institution. Let's focus. One of our biggest enemies is the parliament, and I have said this without fear, that as people were screaming, they were still discussing a bill. So we moved let me summarize, we moved from reject finance bill. A lot of media is misdirecting this topic and calling it anti-government. It is not anti-government. One of the young people told us it is a movement. It is a clamor for good governance and accountability, and that all the killers and the thieves must go. All of them. Asanteni.
Asante sana Redemptor. 6, you can add the new set of speakers sasa. Because another new set of speakers, kuna a lot of requests. Can bring new fresh people up.
I can see I'll just add them by the order which they appear on my end. So ukiona umekuja ni by the order of which you appear on my end, from first to the last. So
The boy who is missing, anaitwa, let me check this from Nyahururu. There's a boy who is missing, anaitwa Mairoinyan Griffin. Yeah, he's a media personnel and he has been in the first line on the Nyahururu protest, but he's missing now. He's been missing since the day the president attended AIPCEA Ndogino on Sunday. Yeah. That is the news I'm receiving. Aya. Miss Kimani, you go first. You have 3 minutes.
I've seen people saying they're afraid, people are being abducted. These are kicks of a dying horse, according to me, because they know we are leaderless. They keep saying there are people civic education, being a civic educator. So I remember in the Bible, it's a story where when the Israelites wanted a king, they said, we want someone who we can see, we want someone who can lead us to battle. And God was like, you really want a king? And he told Samuel, if that is what they want, give them. And they really, really regretted. So this is what I mean. Most of us here fell into the traps of the government ikikuja kufanya their whatever, what is it called, campaigns. And most of us, actually, I usually give an example where I was almost beaten by a group of Gen Zs then, now a group of young people, and I had a contrary opinion against the government. I was like, mna believe huyu mtu, and they were like, who ni hustler and all that. Now, we need to learn from our mistakes. Because the fact that someone was able to convince me and convince 100 others, it means that if we use the same energy to talk to people who are not able to access these X spaces, who are not able to access the social media, kuna watu hawajui what is going on really, they are just hearing rumors. Please, when you go home, ukienda ushago, please go talk to those people. Carry the evidence. We have had people talk about a lot of things here. Please listen, note them down, go talk to those people and tell them, this is what these people are doing with your tax. And lastly, make noise about these ideas. Honestly, if we do not make noise, they are going to play out. Now we know their game. They're going to delay these ideas, and they know most of us do not have ideas. Most of them have lost them during this protest. Others have just turned 18 now, because the Gen Zs now, and they do not have ideas. They are going to fail to issue you those ideas so that you will not vote. Please make as much noise as you can. We really need those better government, and voting is not the solution. Not voting is not the solution. Thank you, and I love you guys. Keep fighting.
Thank you, Ms. Kimani. Kimanthi, sorry. Thank you so much. Guys, mmesikia, tuchukue ID, tuchukue vitambulisho. This ID in another 1 year or 2 years, they will take longer than they're supposed to take. So please tuchukue ID. Ikifika wakati wa election, tuchukue na ID and we register as voters. Mzalendo?
Yeah, I can hear you. Am I clear?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. So first, allow me to comment on something that we heard between Six and a lady there about Ruto being selected by God. And I'm happy Six is here. Six, the next time you see that lady, tell her that the Bible says in the book of Hosea, chapter number 8, verses number 4, that you appointed leaders without my consent. And by that, you brought destruction upon yourself. So I will go straight to the strategies that I would like to propose. Strategy number 1, just to back up what the last speaker has spoken, is civic education. Guys, let us occupy churches, let us occupy functions, let us occupy funerals and educate people. I think it was Wallace who quoted ya kwamba there are youths down there in the village who don't even know what's happening. So it's my plea that because we have this exposure, we have this knowledge. The Bible says that my people perish because of lack of knowledge. However much we will make noise here in space, there is somebody still there in the village mwenye anajua Ruto ndio kusema, ati Baba Shalin ndio kusema wapi, simply because they don't have information. So kindly let us translate what we are doing here to the funerals, to the public functions, and anywhere that we can find a chance to do that. And our civic education should include registration as voters, good governance, and sensitize people how this regime is actually evil. This regime is very evil, and we should tell people that Ruto actually used, if you read the 42 laws of power.
Mzalendo unakatika. Sijui ni from my end pekee ndo nakusikia unakatika.
It's very clear. I don't know. I can hear you.
Koino ni kama umeswitch to Airtel.
Because Mzalendo is very clear.
Okay. Okay, Airtel Safaricom wanashughulika na abductors.
I can continue?
Yes, Mzalendo, go on. You have 30 more seconds.
Oh, wow, too small. Okay, Ruto actually used rule number 32 when you read the 42 laws of power.
I want to mute.
The 42 laws of power, which says play to people's fantasy. So Ruto played to people's fantasy because Ruto knew where he wanted. Responsible. The clergy has become a puppet of the state. So tukiona hawa bishops na hawa mapastors wanashindaga wakienda State House, to occupy kwao, wako na ufala sana, to occupy kwao. Let's occupy those churches of these bishops and pastors who go to State House. Sorry, can I have 1 more minute? Let us occupy churches.
Finish up 1 more minute.
Okay, thank you. Of these bishops who go to State House and come back with envelopes. Strategy number 4, and maybe the last one. Let us go for the media. Some of the medias have been used to sell us fear. Unakuta news, the whole news mtu Kenya anasoma tu, or someone was killed in Kitengela, someone was killed where, someone was killed where. This is a strategy, a state capture, whereby now the state is selling us fear through the media. So tukipata media kama hiyo imekuwa captured, tuna deal nayo. Na mwisho, let us deal with, fight every de la luz, every dissolution. Let us fight all dissolutions. Believe in yourself. Don't believe in Ruto. Don't believe in Raila. Let us believe in this move. Na tusonge nayo kusonga. #wazee, Ruto must go. Mkisema kesho tuko Uhuru Park, leo nimekuwa job, kesho na occupy huko. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You've utilized your last 1 minute very well. Namaliza right on time. Guys, tunaendelea. Tafadhali, someone here was asking kama anaweza ongea. Ukikuja huko kwa speaker panel, please. I believe hakuna mtu anaingianga space kama amekuja microphone immediately. First, maybe mtu anakuaga listen na kuanza at least you hear. There's an order. Ukikuja, just raise up your hand. Your microphone inakujanga ikiwa off. Let it stay off. Then raise up your hand. Utapewa time ya kuongea. We'll just go in that order kindly. Next, I have, don't forget again to follow the hosts, the co-hosts, Apa, Six, Makoino, and everyone else, because that is how we communicate. Tukifollow each other hapa ndani kila mtu, tutapatana rahisi. It makes it so easier for information to spread if we have something to talk about. Next, I have Shafi here. Shafi, are you there? Shafi, are you there? Shafi Osman. 6.
Yes, I'm there. Yes, I'm there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go ahead, your 3 minutes starts now.
Yo, I'm Shafi Osman. I'm in Nairobi. Mazee. Hello. Hope mnanipata. Mazee, baba ameongea shit. Baba lazima asalimiwe. Mnanipata? We have to unfollow him. Kila kenye nilikuwa nataka niseme pia imesemwa na watu wengine. So mimi nimetokea hapo hivyo. Huyo mzee lazima asalimiwe.
Thank you, Shafi. I have who else is here?
Koino.
Yeah. Yep.
Let people know there is nobody called Baba in Kenya. His name is Raila Odinga, a failed presidential candidate who has been using his stomach to benefit from Kenya. He's been using Kenyans to benefit, and he's just a hungry man who's now looking for power and money. So kindly know there is nobody called Baba in Kenya. His name is Raila Amolo Odinga, a failed 5-time presidential candidate. So I was just to clarify that.
Thank you, 6. Habari umeipata. Next I have Igor. Alafu tafadhali muinue mkono. Mnafanya kazi yangu ikuwe rahisi mkiinua mkono. Igor, then 6, you can add more speakers again. Igor, are you there? Igor. Hayuko. Jojo, the 3 minutes starts now, brother. How are you?
Doing fantastic. You know, been chilling out here listening to these great speakers. You can tell they did some speaking lessons. I love them. I didn't even know in Kenya we have great people like this, smart people. Ruto must go. And when we say Ruto must go, hello, governors. Hello, governors of Kenya, the 47 governors. Kenya is in a heap of trash. It's a heap of trash. Let me give you an example of the chairman of the governor. I'm a Kenyan. I know what the fuck is going on. Waiguru, you are the chairman of the governors of Kenya. But you're a good example of Wango Wamakeri. Wango Wamakeri was a chief in my village. She hated men and their rule. Every move she did was to make sure that men understood that women have power. Waiguru you took, and it's not just Waiguru. I'm calling Waiguru out because you are the chairman of the governors of Kenya. When we are talking about Ruto must go, you need to be resigning and taking your asses home. Waiguru, what do you do? The other day, it's not too long ago. You going to an apartment complex in Nairobi. It's in Lavington. You go, the guy at the gate, the security guy asks you, you need to identify yourself and the house that you are going. What happens next? Bitch is so arrogant. The security guy ends up in jail. Waiguru, huyu jamaa ulimpeleka jela. He's a poor security guy. This summarizes the arrogance. If Gen Z does not do what it's doing, there is so much trash. And this trash gonna have to be taken out. And then what do? You divide my Nairobi in two. The raw Nairobi or matatos. Or matatos. That will never end. The trash matatos. They will never end. You will never create an underground rail system for a beautiful city as Nairobi. You come to America, here. You come to Tyler Perry. What the fuck you coming to Tyler Perry to do? What does my mom know who is Tyler Perry? My mom does not even know. My mom is the one you are representing at this Gen Z. My mom does not even know who is Michael Jordan. I'm sorry. Let me just finish. 30 seconds. Okay. There is a heap of trash, and this is what we are trying. We are trying to clean up our house. Governors, you have the attitude of your chairman of governors. We know this. We have not even touched you, but you need to be resigning. When we are doing this discussion, we are asking you to clean up your house, because if we have to come, ikiwa lazima tukuje tukusalimie ili you clean up your house, it is not going to be sweet. My people, thank you. My people of the diaspora, we are fighting a giant. Come on, where is the international community? Come on and help my Kenyan people and the diaspora people. Send some money. And if you're going to come for me that I'm sponsoring this because of sending $10, or you better come on now. The movement need to come strong. We need to boycott a lot of shit. Boycott it. Boycott. Occupy Karen. Occupy Westlands. I love you. Let's go. And we are strong. We ain't going back.
Thank you, Jojo. Thank you. I think we tunasemaga ni even if we cry to the international community, those people now are not going to help us. They only help us when it's beneficial. We have to clean this mess by ourselves. If we wait for international community to come and help us clean this mess, then it will never happen. They also have their interests when they help us. So Buyaki, Jambo.
Jambo, my brother, good afternoon, and I love the energy in this house. Thank you very much. The hosts, may God bless you so much, Kioti and the others. I'm humbled to be here, and this is my first time to speak here, and I want to congratulate the Gen Z fraternity, wherever they are, those who have lost their loved ones, those who have been maimed. We pray for you, and we are praying for you, and we pray to a living God who is going to help us save this nation from all the mess that has been there. Actually, if I have only 2 points to make. One, Gen Z, as much as some people are against us, we are cleaning a generational heap of rubbish, as our friends who have spoken have said. From 1963, from the first president, he left a heap of his mess. He covered it and went out. Second president, the same. Third president, the same. So we have layers of messes, political messes and injustices that have been all along been covered. But God is using the Gen Z generation right now to remove that heap of rubbish. Mark you, wherever we are, even if we are, let me say we are staying in the estates, and we see those rubbish, the heaps of rubbish outside our homes. When those people who are carrying that rubbish, they come to clear, maybe it's a week or a month old. It's so messy, it's so smelly, it's so ugly. Even the people who pass around that place, they just go smelling. So my brothers and sisters, the Gen Z generation, people will call you names. People will mock you. People will discourage you. But be focused. Be focused, because God, we worship a God who is in heaven, and we are behind you. Me, I'm a medical person, and wherever in the 25th, the first mandamano we had, I was there behind with my first aid kit, and I helped very many young people to do first aid before they could be ferried to hospital. So we are behind you, my brothers and sisters in this generation. We are behind you, and God is behind us, and is ahead of us, and is beside us, and He will walk with us. Ruto must go. Ya mwisho, I also believe in the Bible, in the book of Nehemiah. And whoever is here, kindly go and read the book of Nehemiah. Nehemiah, the Israelites had refused to listen to God. They were taken captive, and they stayed for many years in captivity. People were born and died, and no one went to the authority to tell them what they wanted to do. And Nehemiah went, and he was given permission to go and rebuild the wall of Jerusalem. He went there, and there were some guys who came and they wanted to bring him down. Sorry. I'm finishing. He told them, I want to build, I cannot come down. I have to stay focused. And finally, he finished the wall with a very few people. So don't mind. Go ahead. We are behind you. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Buyaki. Six, you had your team letting you speakers. I think we've exhausted the last set of speakers. Afrocentric, jambo.
Jambo.
Ongea na sisi.
Mambo yangu ni matatu. Number one, reject tribalism, reject tactics of division. Politicians are now fearing. They are huddling together. They are planning. They're meeting in hotels. They're meeting in their current homes, planning to balkanize us back to our tribal cocoons. Let us reject to be identified as the ethnic persuasion that we come from. Reject fear. Reject kuziwa uoga. Wameanza kutuua, wameanza kutuabduct, trying to lie and hold flimsy accusations that the youths who were caught in the maandamano were told that they were drunk and disorderly. Just pure lies. This regime is the one which is trying to perpetuate anarchy because they're operating outside the confines of the constitution. Number two, inject. If you're on this space, please retweet this space. Let more comrades come into this space. That is injecting social media activism. Inject. Ruto must go home. Keep injecting. Na ya mwisho, eject. We are here to say unilaterally across Kenya that we have lost confidence in William Samoei Ruto and his illegitimate regime. They are all thugs stealing our public coffers money. They have borrowed over 6.1 trillion and not even one project to show. Nikuuliza, what has Ruto done in the past 2 years? You can't even say. Kutengeneza tu jina yake huko abroad, every day on a plane. Lying and flying. Those are the only two things Ruto can do very well. Lying and flying. Anyway,
Tunaendelea majamaa. Again, follow each other tafadhali, follow host, follow the co-host, follow everyone else hapa ndani. Tafadhali. Follow back, follow. Kuna nani hapa? Guys, tafadhali tuinue mkono. Fanye kazi, murahisishe kazi. Okay. You go first, your hand is up.
Thank you so much. So good evening, everyone. Yeah, thank you so much, Kenyans, for coming up and addressing the issues that are affecting us. So I'll go to my.
Nah.
Sorry, can you guys get me?
Go ahead. Guys, tafadhali, just a minute. Tafadhali tulisema ukikuja kwa speaker panel, please don't on your microphone until you are told to. Please. Wacha ikae on mute. Then raise up your hand kurahisisha kazi. Okay, go ahead. I'm restarting your time.
Okay. So most of African nations fall because we rely on churches and religion to hide the reality and and the desperation and that's why the politicians have actually taken advantage of this situation, and they're exploiting us. Politicians are swindling money through the churches so that we cannot support, so that the president claiming that he's the chosen, and someone is claiming that the president is the chosen person by God. How can the Lord choose someone to come and kill people? People are dying. The police are very brutal to us. Everyone is in danger. People are fearing their lives because there's abduction. So let's not bring the religion in a revolution, kindly, because God does not choose someone to come and kill people. Yeah, so I wanted to start with that. So I wanted to move on the strategic moves to spread information. Number one, I want to keep it short. We can invite experts. We can bring in knowledgeable speakers to add credibility to the discussion, so that we talk about facts regarding the financial matters. Because now we know that our money is being swindled, our money is being stolen, but we need the financial people to come and actually tell us what is going on, so that we know the specifics and what is happening. Number two, let's emphasize on the importance of civic engagement by number one. We need to register our ID cards. We need to highlight the obtaining an ID card that obtaining an ID card is crucial for voters and registration and empowerment. So we need to go ahead and start registration of our ID cards, because when we give these people time, they're going to start claiming that the systems are not working, that everything has been, the machines are not working as they're supposed to be. We've seen in these cases, because most people had applied for their ID cards, and it is now taking a long time. Some have taken a year, some have taken 8 months. So let's stress on that. Number two, voting. 2027, kindly, just in case this guy survives this revolution, let's vote. Let everyone come out and vote, and take this guy home. He need to be the first president in Kenyan history to serve a one term. Kindly, everyone, let's register our IDs and prepare for voting, because this guy has to go. Number three, advocacy. Let's encourage peaceful protests, petitions, and other civic engagements. As we are protesting, let us be peaceful, because now I can see they're saying they've banned the demonstrations in town, which is they are disrespecting the article 37 of the Kenyan Constitution. So we have the right to demonstrate peacefully the way we've been doing, unless provoked, because we have to protect ourselves. So as I finish, kindly a minute, Kowino, kindly, let's begin by okay, thank you. Let's begin by acknowledging the complex socio-political landscape in Kenya. The government manipulation, corruption, and human rights violations are pressing. These are real pressing issues. So it's important to frame these discussions in a way that is accessible and relevant to the lived experiences of our audiences. So we need to focus on key issues like providing a strong foundation for effective education to our community. People are in the dark. A lot of people are in the dark and they don't know what is happening. And that's why we can see yesterday someone is saying we don't need to occupy the state house. Kindly, let's come out in large numbers and fight for our rights. I can see people are going up, but let me just finish from there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, I have Moses Otieno, then Hezi, in that order.
Okay, thanks. So mi kuna kitu namba moja yenye nimeboeka nayo last maandamano yenye imekuwa Tuesday. What I saw at Kitengela sikubambika nayo. Cause unapata askari alishutu huyo kijana mwenye alikuwa anatangazwa ati amepata accident Juja. So hiyo kitu iko nifurahisha by the way. Mbona saa maaskari wanatuua bure? Why? Then ya pili, I was at Kajiado. At Kajiado tulikuwa tunafaa maandamano huko kupinga hii risto za Ruto must go. Then I hear by watu walikuwa wanasema ati governor amelipa vijana huko. So ndio maana maandamano haikuwaka huko. So vijana, mimi tunaweza kuambia hii ni life yetu tunafaitia. by the way, tunafaitia life yetu, na kitu yenye inafanyika hivi, mtu unapata mnalipwa, hiyo ni ujinga mnafanya, cause haifai mnalipwa, unaona, cause hizi we are so haifai kuwa tunalipwa kwa hizi vitu zenye zinafanyika, cause tunafaitia rights zetu. Alafu hawa watu wa media, story ya kuficha manews ati mnasema ati mtu ameuliwa Juja accident, hizo vitu hazifai, sifurahi. Na kitu iko hapa, Ruto must go. Asanteni.
Asante sana Moses. Hezi, you have 3 minutes start now.
Hello, agenda number 1. Sanctions. Hizi kampuni zote za wanasiasa zikuje tuache kununua vitu zao. When you hit where the money is, they feel the impact more. Mambo ya Uhuru Park, let's leave that kwanza. JKIA vile brada yangu alikuwa amesema tuende JKIA. Tuseme tunataka kuhama nchi, hata watupatie passport, tunataka kuenda. Tumechoka na wao, hatuishi nchi ambao wanatuibia. Let's leave. Watu wa Mombasa waende Moi International Airport, waende Port Authority huko. Kila kitu isimame. Let this money stop kabisa. Wa feel impact ni tunafeel pia sisi. Because hakuna vile wanazo watu 40 50 plus abali wanataka tuongee. We have no time. Kitu ya tatu kuhusu religion and everything. Do you know how much money is collected kama tithe na sadaka in Kenya? Tuamue for the next 3 Sundays at least kanisa 20. Let's tell our parents wakae nyumbani. They'll feel the impact. They need the money, they need the tithe, they need the sadaka. Let them know they are alone in this war. Thank you.
Thank you Hezi. Wengine mmekataa, sasa mkono nayo haitainuliwa. Okay, interesting. Kama tuko na Ruto wengine pia, but ni sawa. Tutamanage. Ismail. Sorry Ismail. Sylvia, your hand is up. Mtu akinua mkono ya priority.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, mimi nataka tu echo what others, those people who have spoken before me chini wamesema. Let's actually occupy penye kutakuwa na attention. A place kama hiyo JKIA ama any other seme airport, twende tu tukaoccupy huko, hata kama tutaenda wote, because hata hiyo tear gas tutakula tunao watalii wanakuja, so that whoever will be recording or will be going live from whichever country they are coming from, we will be heard internationally. And pia wakati tunaenda huko, let's make our placards, let's put their information that we want to yani ikue aired huko nje. Tusiandike tu vitu fani zenye zitusaidi. Let's speak about corruption, about bad governance, about police brutality, hizo vitu. Then I was also suggesting that we occupy, we barricade things like these highways. You see, what we don't understand is that these neighboring countries, they rely on these highways. And these politicians, most of them, they have big businesses. Nani import na export. So hata kubarricade tu barabara tu hii highway ya kuconnect these 2 neighboring countries, tutakuwa tumefunga mchezo, because even 12 hours they will lose a lot of revenue, and for those business people who are maybe supporting the government, they will also lose a lot of money. And that is when they will wake up and listen, or maybe they will even want to negotiate with us and ask us, what do we want? Maybe our bargain will be Ruto to go, to step down, so that we go ahead. And you see, now the main agenda here is how do we get this person in power? We have so many good ideas, we have all these suggestions that we want to put in, but we cannot actualize anything when this guy is still there. He's showing us the middle finger. Another thing, even the IMF, these people, this World Bank, they are the ones who mostly fund these highways. And our colonizers, they have never left Africa. And the reason why they also, somebody said that we elected Ruto. Are we the only African country suffering? No. Even these other African countries that have leaders that they do not want, Have you asked yourself how they found themselves there? It's because these our colonial masters, they're the ones who put these people there. They're their puppets. So wanakuja hapo, they mine our minerals. Hizi barabara, hizi highway ndo zinapitisha hizo madini kutoka Congo, kutoka hapa Kenya. When you hear people say that there is active mining here, so let's occupy where it will affect their business, so that they speak to us. Na bure saizi we are just there, na huko hao wanaendelea mikutano zao with their international friends who are here.
Next I have Future 6 uko available?
Unasemaje Koino?
Uko around because I want to give like speakers time, then I want to leave it up to you delay.
Leo niko brief jaingia job mzee.
Aya, sawa. Let me finish with Future and Masha, then you take over. Future, go ahead. Your 3 minutes starts now. Unamsikia? 6 unamsikia? 6 unasema uko available na uongee.
Mimi siwezi msikia mzee.
Uwezi ama humsikii?
Simsikii.
Future fix your connection, then you will come back. 6 KOT watakupatia microphone. Masha, are you there?
Yes guys, mnaweza nisikia?
Aya, safi, go ahead. Your 3 minutes starts now.
First of all, I wish to give my condolences to all the Gen Zs and other guys who have lost their lives. Now, mnataka mnisikize kidogo. Mimi, I'm not a Gen Z, but niko millennium, and I support fully in this movement. But nataka niwaambie hivi. I've worked in government institutions. Hizi positions za chini tu. But guys, nataka niwapatie siri saa hizi. These political classes zitaua hii Kenya. And I'm telling you this. This president we have, unajua huu jamaa amekuwa wakati wa Moi. You see, anajua all the tactics, vile watu waliuawa, anajua kila kitu. Akakuja wakati wa Kibaki, akaingia wakati wa Uhuru. So this guy, he knows everything. And if we don't be careful, huyu jamaa tukiachievement atagonga moja. You see now, Raila Odinga has gone to bed with William Ruto. Kwa sababu anajua asiposhika Raila Odinga, then this movement is going to the other Azimio guys that are going against Baba. Baba, we have always respected him, but now he has lost the ground completely. Huyu mzee sasa ni aende pamoja na Ruto. Now guys, nataka niwaambie hivi. We need to have a strategy. We have been having the strategy. Tulikuwa na ile matakwa yetu yote. Yes? Huyu jamaa amewekelea moja, but he has not yet done it. Now, we need to retreat, not to attack. Retreat and talk. Ukiretreat, si eti wewe ni mwoga, una take ile strategy and then you attack. So we need to have a strategy, tujue what next. Na kama ni strategy, twende moja. Tusiende zote kwa pamoja, we will fail. This guy will naambiwa eti Kenyans hawana kazi. Kazi ziko mingi sana hapa ndani kwa all the government institutions. But you know what? Hizi kazi zote zinapewa with the political classes. You can imagine an MP anapeana watu 100 kwa institution fulani. Another MP anapeana without merit kabisa, without merit kabisa. So we need to remove the entire political class. Hatuwahurumie, tusiwahurumie, all of them. Now, kuwatoa, we need something, a voters card. Right now, lazima tufanye njama zote. All the Gen Zs, millennials, lazima tuwe na voting cards. ID lazima kuwe. Na hawa jamaa wanajua, sisi hawajui, they're going to support these young kids not to get ID cards. Then we should take the step forward. Ikifika 2027, anyone who has been the political field for years, waende wote. To remove these guys away. Thank you so much. I'll be contributing more, guys. But mujue ni hayo. Thank you.
Asante sana Masha. This is now where I live. I want to give it to my other co-host, 6000s. We'll take over from there. KOT, it was a pleasure being here with you guys. Thank you for all you said. I love this discussion. And I can only say that we cannot give up. We will find avenues of which we can air out our issues and which we can bring our leaders accountable from time to time, even if in mpaka 2027 general elections, so that when we go to elections, we elect accountable leaders. We don't elect leaders based on political parties or leaders enforced on us by tribal kingpins. We elect leaders based on credibility. I think that is the direction we are taking. We also don't elect leaders based on which tribe they come from or what is their political background. We elect leaders based on what they can do for us. You can bring someone else up to help. Thank you.
Well, yeah, Jachode. Siku poa. I'll definitely have a fun. Follow with you later on. So guys, as Koino departs, we now come to have to continue this conversation. So who was next? KOT, who was next? We'll go with Biril. Are you there? How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
You have your 3 minutes.
Thank you so much. So my name is Joanne, and I'm not a Gen Z, I'm a millennium. A proud mother to a Gen Z, and a teacher, a very proud teacher now that the people that I taught are now coming out to. What I want to just comment is the fact that I've been listening in different groups, different spaces, and what I've heard is just impressive. Mi nimefurahi sana because I remember I was thinking about it some months ago and I was like, where are we heading to as a country? Nilikuwa ninaona nasema, oh my goodness, religion, wametumia religion, yani ni colonize Kenya wakitumia religion. Ruto came, sasa amekuja ameradicalize our parents to an extent that hawezi hata wakasema huwezi ukawaambia anything, like you try to tell them this is not the right thing, wanasema no, this is, huyu ni mtu wa Mungu. But I'm so happy that kuna watu waliona tuko nyuma yenu. Me, I totally support you. Kitu yenye nataka tu kuwahimiza ni kwamba there are people who don't actually know what is happening. Bado they still rely on the politicians wakuja wawaambie this is the way, this is the way. So what I will ask us is, ukipatana na mtu hata kama ni Gen Z, kuna wenye hawajui, they just rely on the information that they get from the politicians. So tuwaeleze, let us tell them that nowadays ati tuna rely on politicians to tell us this proper ni nini ameguza yako, you get it, like
John, you're breaking.
Sorry. So nilikuwa nasema tufanye sensitization. Hiyo ndio something that I would want us to really focus on. Otherwise, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Yeah, thank you, Joan. That voice has made me happy this afternoon. So, Ismail, then Vicky, then we add new speakers. Ismail.
Habari majamaa. Thank you bwana. Mimi simu yangu iko karibu kuzima, ndio maana narisha mkono juu. Niko hapa karibu na parliament. Kuangalia upande wa Uhuru Park. Askari ni wengi kuliko mamiti. Asubuhi nimechai timu nzuri, tumeingia tao mpaka timu inazima. Sasa nataka niepe tao. Six, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
6.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Huko ama unajua ni kama leo mjaingia tao. Kwani mlikuwa aje leo?
Bwana, leo tulicheza mind game. Tuliacha waende wakae Uhuru Park, alafu sisi tutulie kwa nyumba. Wakishapigwa na baridi, we will strike again on Tuesday. Today tulikuwa tunawaonyesha na hii weather we can also play mind games. They have been there since 5 a.m. in the morning. They are now. Wacha tutakutana na wao kesho. Hawana masweta.
Wanaona wameingia kwa malori, hata wasimama nje sasa hivi, wamekuwa kwa malori. Wamesurround Uhuru Park. So kama spirit high bwana, spirit high manze. Naona parliament yao wamewekewa fence ya curtain. Sasa huwezi ona ndani. Hivyo tunajua kwa ndani bado. Watu tunataka kuambia watu wasijike moyo. Kama amua Tuesday tunatokezea, basi watu watokezee Tuesday. Wataweke namba kwa watu wenye watakuwa wanaweza saidiwa hiyo siku kufika hapa. Otherwise mimi ni simu yangu inataka kuzima mpaka nifike kwa Kejani kwa kidogo ni boost. Nimeingia asubuhi town mapema. Hata mimi mnichezea mind game bana, nilikuwa na bahati leo. Ya Gen Z. Anyway ni sawa tu.
Shukran Ismail. Vicky.
And a struggle na mic, I guess. Just more speakers.
Yeah, naona requests zimekuwa kibao. I'll add speakers randomly. Everybody will speak. Everybody will contribute. And here we accept everybody's opinion, unless at some point you're not making sense. So I'm adding speakers randomly. If you come up, raise your hand. We will give you strictly 3 minutes. Kindly stick to that. If you have a lot to say, just try summarize. You can put them in bullet form so that we don't the least time possible. So if you hear and you want to speak, raise up your hand so that we can have order as we flow. We have a very, very huge list of mics that have been requested. So this is how we will go. Eunice, you have your 3 minutes ending at 15:21. Kindly keep time.
Okay, can you hear me all? Just confirm that you can hear me.
Yes, you can hear. You are audible enough.
Okay, great. So first is to just to to condole with those that are mourning our fallen heroes, those who have really fought hard for us to get here. And number two is to congratulate all of you for what you've done so far. I'm not a Gen Z, I'm a millennial, a very old millennial. I'm a mother of a Gen Z, and I have been, following, actually, I'm almost becoming an activist. And what I would say is, so far we have achieved quite a lot, and let's not give up. And also to remind you that culture takes so much time to become. And the strategists say that culture eats strategy in the morning for breakfast. What does that mean? We have a nation that has a culture of impunity, a culture whereby we glorify the corrupt and the thieves, and blame This begins with each one of us ask, when I get an opportunity to be corrupt, do I get corrupt? When I get an opportunity to do good, do I do good? And then we start holding each other accountable on that. And the other thing is, we need an environment in Kenya that we are able to manufacture. So that's my few submission for now. But let's think critically inwardly. What are we doing to make Kenya a better Kenya, even as we go to we do our activism online and even on the streets, wherever we do it, let's shame the behavior. We must shout, we must stop businesses that are supporting the corrupt. We must stop anyone who is supporting the corrupt. Thank you.
Maybe I would like you to write tweets about culture so that I can follow and learn more about. I like your submission when you started, and we need such conversations to keep going. The second speaker was Mr. Know How.
Hello, guys. I hope you are fine. So, mine is not a lot, but I want to say that one thing sets pace and endurance finishes the rest. So, we must endure to the end. And then another thing is that sometimes we are always acting as if we don't know some things were supposed to come. Such things as betrayals, divisions, and other things will try to come. Like, for example, now we see like the political class, right, are clearly in danger. When the citizen unite and say no to political party, they are clearly endangered. So what they do, they have restructured. Wao restructure, and they have now united to stand against us. Now, one thing we also should note is that we are supposed to be adaptable. Like, one thing is that one thing that was giving strength to our movement is to remain undefinable. Like, they cannot tame us, they cannot define us, they don't know who the leader is, and the movement goes on. And this is actually proving to be a problem to them. That's why they can ban mandamanos by saying that due to lack of leadership or such. They clearly know that. Okay, they clearly know that that is very dangerous to them, and they'll not be able to tame us. So we must be very adaptable. For example, kama leo ilifaa twende Uhuru Park, and then wakapeleka kule askari na watu wengi. Like, what we ought to have done is like tungetokea and hadi tuko na hii nini smartphone, it can be so easier to communicate and change. Like, what if wanajua tunaenda Uhuru Park, waweke huko wanajeshi wengi, and then juu wase wametokea, message zinasambaa haraka, tunaamua tunaenda tunaoccupy another place. That will prove to be so hard for them to tackle. By the way, mkiweza master to that one, like to be undefinable and to have effective communication. Like, Uhuru Park is not the only place we can meet. As long as watu wametokea, and then we have like vision. Yes, we don't have leaders, but we can have visions whereby tunaweza sema okay, so wamesema anaenda huku, and then we change immediately to not occupy another place. Like, kuna places nyingi tunaweza occupy, including there are places business zenye wameiba pesa wameweka huko, and many other things. So we can change immediately and go to that place. So you'll realize that once we master that, it will be so hard for them, hata wakiamua waban any other place, they'll not succeed in any other thing. And then another thing is that we should avoid slippery ground. As religion. Actually, one of our targets should be to separate religion and politics. Yeah, I'm also a Christian, and I actually believe that Jesus Christ says that let what belong to Caesar be and what belong to God be. So actually, a good policy should be that religion and politics should be apart. Like, hatuhitaji politician apeleke kwa church like 200 kwa hiyo shule hawana uniform and such basic needs. You see, that's a waste of time. So we should separate religion, and then we should also choose our wars very well, the battles we fight. Like, let us not fight just everything at once. Like, venye tu msee amesema hapo, tukue tuki narrow down with 1 and then avoid slippery points whereby they can now, like for example, an idea kusema still have so many people wenye wako confused, hawaelewi kama tuko on the right track. Some like mona idea kama hiyo ya kwamba we are burning the country imeingia some of those people who are supporting us. So we should avoid slippery grounds whereby the enemy can use them for our disadvantage. So for example, tukipersist na Ruto must go. Me, I always remain to say this way. Hiyo first Thursday, kama ingekuwa watu kugawanyika, watu watokee, saa hii tungekuwa tunaishi bila Ruto. We will be having good life. Now,
Land, Mr.
okay.
It's only 3 minutes. Kindly.
Let me land. Yeah. So we should have a unified front. That's my last point. Like hiyo siku kama tungeendelea people, hata tuachane na hizi mini maandamanos mara ingine. We just decide for one, tunakuwa definable and we attack. Kama Nairobi tunafika hivyo. It will maandamanos na wanajaribu kudilute and then they do the way they are doing. So have a nice time.
Thank you. Biril, I texted you kindly. Check.
Yeah, I've seen you.
Biril, are you there?
Yeah, I've got you. Just carry on.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the next speaker after Mr. Noit was Smith.
All right. Smith, I've seen Smith, and then Eunice, and then Mr. No. So I'll give you an emoji of 100 to confirm.
Eunice has spoken. So it is Smith, MC, Pinky, Mr. Yeah.
All right.
Can I proceed?
Yes, please.
Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate for this opportunity. Too strategic tuone vile tunaweza kuwa objective na to achieve whatever we want. Number one, sahi we maintain stand Ruto must go, which is a good stand. Now, the political class currently wamesha realize give out a signal of a vote of no confidence. Now, wako in panic that what if nobody comes in? What if they lose the influence? Now, sahi wameshaenda game ahead of us. Ile watafute vile wanaweza kutogawa totally. What can we do at this hour? Alafu, what parliament ikirudi elections zote, all the seats, the new people wakuje na tuhakikishe kuwa the ODM ime lose power yake, UDA ime lose influence yake, so that hiyo tutakuwa tumepunguza confidence yao. Lakini if we assume that we are fighting Ruto and Raila again is being assumed that is not an enemy on this other side, we don't plan on how to win the war, then nothing. I think we are sabotaging ourselves at a certain point. Let us ensure also we achieve hii mambo ya parliament ni kitu yenye tulisha achieve. Tusiachieve hapa inaenda home. How about pia as much as tuna hold protest na protest hii sasa mali tumefikia tunafaa kuwa na protest Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday na Friday. So that hakikishe it is a run ya Monday to Friday. How makarao watapata chance ya kureplan kunini, they will be exhausted. Na in fact wataput out pressure is ya kuplan on how to counter us. Unaona? So I'm suggesting that if we want to achieve this, pia kuna wale wenye wako maushago, kuna people wale wenye bada waelewi anything, they still believe that the minds and the likes of Raila, like you realize that Wanga the other time was saying that Luos, this is not our fight. Now they are trying to coerce those who are in wale wenye wako kwa zile counties za nyumbani kueleza kuwa hii ni vita ya Wakikuyu. Unaona? So it Pardon?
I'm saying your
wakati tuna push for hizi mambo ya police, National Police Service reforms, tuhakikishe kuwa hauwezi weka EPOA, the command come from the same place, the same OCPD mwenye alipeana command for somebody to be killed in the protester to be killed. You can't expect this same OCPD to give out command to arrest the same officer that he gave a command. Command yao ikuwe separate so that we don't the same point. Now it's a central point. Now it sabotages everything. So that is my today.
Thank you very much, guys. I really like. We have almost 22 speakers. Kindly. We are discussing. It's not like other spaces where people just go and rant. No, we are not saying everything. So when we give you the mic, kindly make use of it and be brief as you emphasize on your point. So Pinky, you go. Everyone else, I'll give you the mic. So once you take the mic, I'll take it so that I can add more speakers, and then we carry on like that. You're most welcome, and just be patient with us. Pinky?
Yeah?
Carry on.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Ismail, I'll give you after Pinky.
First of all, if we are able to shout kwamba someone must go, tufuate watu directly kwa offices zao. If tunaweza kuchanga pesa tukatengeneza maplacards, tukatengeneza ma stickers and ma signboards na tukazunguka town siku nzima tukirushiana tear gas na polisi, kwa nini tusishikane to print these things are public on the websites za Auditor General? We print hizi reports zimetoka since 2021, tuzitoe zile zenye zinali mtu anakuwa awarded a tender for kuchimba kisima ya coal 200 million, anakuwa awarded leo the tender and tomorrow analipwa tari 200 million. and they end up doing only 9 wells, 4. Why don't we print these things? If we have funds, let's do site visits. Let's start in Nairobi. Pictures, tunashikanisha hizo with the reports za auditors kwamba there was money spent kujenga barabara mahali, there was money spent kuweka mataa mahali. We take those pictures, we go visit the office, anaitwa nani, prosecutor. We visit them in their office, says, tuna our question, we have photos here, we have the report of the auditor general here, kwamba money was spent doing this, this and this, and nothing was done. What have you done about it? We have pictures here. Twende kwa DPP, kwa huyo prosecutor, tutoke kuzunguka town kama wagoroki. We face them sasa. Wao wakitarajia tutaenda Uhuru Park, sisi tumeenda kwa visit hawa jamaa kwa office, tunauliza maswali magumu. Tuende City Hall, tuulize governor Sakaja, tulipewa pesa fulani fulani. Kuna there's a report saying money was spent in doing ABCD, and tumeenda site visit, tumevisit hizo places, it has not been done. Hawa watu wakikuja kuvisit exit report ikitoka, when the auditors want to leave, wakienda kusomea governor ama ni nani hii report, wanatengeneza pesa hiyo website ya Auditor General. If we have time to print all these posters, why don't we print these things and share them around? Tukienda Uhuru Park hiyo siku, tukikaa hapo tufanye about the governors, it's about the MCAs. Money is being spent every year kutengeneza barabara inakuwa, there's this thing called grading and marraming. Every year unapata, let's say every financial year 10 million is spent on marraming and grading a road, while inaweza tutafanya renovation mahali, tunaenda site visit na budget tunaangalia, nothing was done. We take photos, we get expenditure reports, people are being paid for this money. Mtu amelipwa, kazi haijafanyika. We follow the companies, we go to the banks, we get bank statements, tuulize hii pesa imelipwa kwa hii kampuni, nani ametoa hii pesa. Tukipata hizo vitu zote, tukienda kwa face nazo, utapata mtu amenyamaza, hakuna kitu ya kusema, hakuna kitu anaweza kukujibu, because you have the picture, you have the video, we have a budget, we have an expenditure report, we have an Auditor General report that alisema EP. If we do it next week, tukienda Uhuru Park, tukikaa next week, watu wako diaspora, sisi wenyewe tuko hapa, most of us are working, the Gen Z are not working, but tuko wengi katika hizi shida.
Thank you.
Tushikane, tuwe resources, to print hizi vitu, tukienda Uhuru Park to share, watu wajue what is actually happening. It is not only about Ruto. Money inavuja hadi chini kwa MCAs. Over expenditure, over pricing, all those things are happening. Tumesikia leo ya governor ana price crate moja 1 million. Hizi zote zikiaccumulate, unapata pesa inatoka.
That. Thank you very much. Allow me to go to the next speaker. Ismail, I'll give you 2 minutes. Please, everyone to be able to speak, because some people are inboxing that we are denying them speakers. Ismail, 2 minutes is yours. Pinky, you can go rotate, and then you can come back again once I rotate the speakers, if you've not exhausted your points.
Thank you, Biril. Am I audible?
Yes, carry on.
Please, one thing. Let's note one thing, yeah? There are a lot of distractors who are coming in. And for sure, going forward, please, listeners, everyone is entitled to his opinion, yes, but please, let's not keep on talking about some issues that we know it doesn't add up, because the government of Kenya, the so-called government of Kenya, is a crime scene. There is nothing that can work. Institutions have failed completely. People are talking about, we visit these offices. These are in office appointed by Ruto. Nobody was appointed on a favor. Most of these people who are in these offices have bought those positions. Money was taken from them. We have reached that extent. Corruption has reached that extent that people are buying positions. The permanent secretaries, when they are being appointed, we know what happened. The parastatal heads, we know what happened. They were doing it. So occupying is not a problem, but focus. The focus is this guy has failed this nation. It starts with him, it ends with him. So there's no bargaining here. Talking about is in somebody's pocket. It cannot work. There are laws that are put in the constitution that safeguard IPOA for it to be for them to be a working team. They cannot do anything. You talk about leave about EACC. We're talking about the DPP, handpicked by Ruto, incompetent person who is in office. People are withdrawing. Major scandals and major corruption cases are being withdrawn. Governors are being grilled, and what is taken to by questioning. We can see everything that's happening there. This guy is supposed to be prosecuted. The DPP withdraws the case because there's money that is changing hands. The governors have money. They have stolen enough. Right. We will fight to the brim until this guy gets out of office. So there's nothing. Don't say at where we relent. No. He pressured before it was Tuesdays, Thursdays. Now they will have it every day in unexpected places. This guy will not. We will not give him. Regarding Gachagua, the ones that are saying that if Ruto goes, what happens? As Raila is claiming, you think that regarding Gachagua is better? Regarding Gachagua is the same. And there will be no vacuum if these guys leave office. Msidanganywa at these guys, there's a space that want to vacuum what the military will have nothing to do with us. We pay the military. Kwani military mnaona kama they are from somewhere else? The taxpayers, understand one thing, put it in your brains. We are the majority taxpayers in this country. Gen Zs combined with millennials Only that. We are the majority taxpayers in this country. So tusidanganywe hapa that we are talking about something else. No. If you don't want to be accountable, then we go to what the Constitution provides for us. So Article 1 is us. It's us. We shall not make us. Our focus is these guys should leave office with his regime completely. The ones who have joined them, they are doomed. We are waiting for that. We want them to see if they will sell us as traitors, but they will be with us. They have chosen their way. We love this country. That's why we are dying for this country. So people, musidanganywe, let's not be distracted. Our focus, our aim, Ruto must go. Ruto must go. That is it. So don't lose hope. We are winning. This thing we are winning. Ideas. We don't want that. We have a goal, and we will get this guy out of office by whatever means we can. If he enter the hard way, we will fight. If they want to listen to the constitutional way, we'll use the way. If they go their own way to violate the constitution, we will violate the same constitution. We'll remove them from the offices they are holding. Shit.
Guys, I've been waiting.
Sorry, who is speaking?
I've been waiting.
Okay, MC, you can go.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, nakusikia Biril, nakusikia. It's MC who's been waiting, so I think he can go next.
Okay, give a lineup of 3 speakers. MC. Give a lineup of 3 speakers. Carry on.
Thank you. Guys, at first, we've been in the battle for so long, but it's never long. It seems like the journey is just kind of kicking off. You know, we are facing a lot of things. Like, honestly, let me express my feelings on this. Today, I saw some poster on calling us to go occupy Uhuru Park. And that it was a prank. So my question is, and as a point 1 for me, where are we finding the real information? Because me coming to space, I'm being told like it was a mind game. I, as part of the movement, how am I to be sure that this is the right information or this is the right way to go? Like I spent my time going all the way to town only to come back and notice that, oh, it was all about mind game. That is first point. Generally, it's about the source of information. What information am I to go for? Secondly, recently, that governor of Homa Bay, and suddenly my friend Denzel is coming home lifeless, a Luo from Homa Bay. And you're trying to tell me that I, a Luo, should not be in this. This is not our fault. a lot. Man like Denzel, whom I scored with, my friend is coming home lifeless. And someone is coming with some tribal games telling us that, no, this is not our fight. In short, youths, we should strode forward. We should stick to the line. The few who are still intact in this, we should go. And if you are capable of mobilizing someone, just call in someone. The fear is fading away. You're seeing how they are mishandling things, and it's kind of instilling some fears in you. We shouldn't be afraid in any way. We shouldn't be afraid in any way. This thing is a marathon, but we shouldn't run even for so long. I heard of someone spoke of it really touched a lot of people. It worked. We should not give these people time. We should not wait to be bought, because the more we keep taking long, is the more we are fading. But the reality is that they won't be punished. They won't be punished, because who should be punishing them is dining with them in the same table, and is the same person feeding them, and it's the same cycle we are fighting. It's not all about political class. Those guys are okay. Was that short? But thank you.
Okay, thank you. Umejua kuna kitu umesema and it's only you and the former president of Kenya who say it. Irregardless. I went to research and realized irregardless is not in English. It is regardless. Yenye Uhuru
Usikatishe 2 point. That's it, I'm done. The host means land in one shot.
It's okay.
Malizia, but thank you.
aha.
Hello, can I, hello, good afternoon.
Anto.
I'm on, I guess.
Statement halfway.
Oh, Nico. Siko available.
Okay, sawa. 6 cents uko na hiyo nini? Do you have that timer?
Nitaweka tu timer. I hope itasikika. I think the last speaker nilimwekea time. make sure this space appears on your timeline. People should be aware of whatever is happening. What are our next plans as a revolution? We don't care who listen and who won't listen. At the moment, just to create awareness of whatever is happening, so that when we attack as a group. So make sure you tweet the space, make sure the space appears. Comment section and do the honorable thing also. The host has been doing this every now and then. Make sure you follow the host, that is KOT Sonko. Follow people on the space and follow the co-hosts too. As
Hello, good afternoon. I've seen this space from YouTube. I didn't know it was happening. Big up to KOT Sonko, though. Try to amplify it more so that we can be able to know what is happening. The class, you may realize we are walking. So, what is happening? Ruto, Raila, wameshikana. These people will beat us down if you're not strategic. Sai tuko online kila saa, oh Tero alifanya hivi. Let's say oh Sonko alifanya, KOT alifanya. Today we are saying we want to remove the MPs. How do you approach it? How do you approach, you know, with the questions which you are asking within ourselves? Sai tuko tu zile za leo jump, but there's no one who can amplify this information. Do you know why? The information is scanty. Sisi tunaogopa tukiamka hivi, tuna protest, inageuka. Kuna chafu inageuka. The governor atakam analipa wasee, juzi we tried protesting. Alipewa reason being, like no one cares. No one cares. So my 50 cent, what I think, let's pass information to everybody. Let this thing be strategic. Let tuieke up engine. Put ourselves and our lives in stake atujali. But the question is, kuna wase wana take advantage of this movement. As you're speaking, there's some people say washakatiwa yao. Yesterday, Gaito alishikwa. Why unapata hii kitu hujashika sana? My thinking, let's be united, let's focus. Yeah, kuandamana si mbaya, but let us be strategic. Tunaandamana, tunajua leo ni Uhuru Park, tunaenda Uhuru Park, hata kama tuende that game ni mess. So sasa ile story ya tribeless fearless ni nini? Mimi niko huko mbaya. I'm still young. Siwezi kuwa hapa nikitetea mzee fulani na anijali. So for us Kenyans and my fellow youths, let us be strategic, let us be focused, let us know the goal ni nini. Wataua wasee, watafanya nini, but revolution must watu wadai. Hiyo tujue tu. That's all.
There's a lady that is on the speaker. We've had a lot of gentlemen. Justin, and then Esther, then Matson. Mavrero, you go after Lisa. A bit of a balance. We get to hear our ladies. Esther, if you can hear me, open your mic.
Hi, I can hear you.
Kindly proceed.
Strategic. Let's think through our plans, especially the plan where we know there'll be a high number of deaths, like walking to State House. Let's get really strategic. We need numbers to go to State House, like to dare anything, actually. They overpowered them. They took over, they went to the swimming pool, they swam, they went to the bed. Going to State House until we know we have the numbers, we know we have the traction. Let's get very strategic so we can reduce the amount of lives that will be lost in this journey. Siwauzi woga, nasema tu, let's get strategic. Buckingham Palace, the Westminster, there's no place that the people are blocked from, like the way State House is fair, because of the votes he got from the Kenyan people who are but let's get there strategically. Let's plan this thing meticulously so that we know the lives that have been lost and that will be lost at that time. We know that we have done our best to protect lives even as we move forward in the revolution. The education ministry and the education sector, there seems, this Ruto government, I'm willing to die for this, even through HELB, we studied through Kibaki's free education. And then in this, when this government of Ruto came in, the first thing they did was hit could hustle with the parents and then come up with something together with the HELB amount that they were given. This administration, I'm so angry because no government has done this to Kenyans. For the big causes. Kibaki's government, not only was there HELB and reasonable fees for university, reasonable. I think he paid 24,000 to study engineering during Moi's time. This is the only government, the only president in Kenya's history that has refused, that has closed the door to a poor from
the great equalizer that is education. And they know a poor generation that is uneducated, they'll be super easy to control. They won't be like us, Gen Zs and millennials, who question every step they make. Because of how educated we are, we know.
It was just like, holy crap, this is a camera.
But it didn't look like a camera. It was a phone charger. Chloe Levermay's fiancé had grabbed it from the bedroom wall of their Airbnb, thinking it was hers.
The Airbnb host had called us on the phone and told us that we had taken a charger that did not belong to us and that we needed to return it immediately.
At what point did you think this isn't really a charger?
He became increasingly paranoid. When am I getting this charger back? I think it was like a light bulb moment that we all just went, oh my goodness, is this a hidden camera?
Across North America, police have seized thousands of images from hidden cameras at Airbnb rentals, including people's most intimate moments. What happened when you realized that there was a camera in that charger?
It's so eerie and so creepy. Then your brain starts thinking, what did they see? What happened while in that room?
In a small town in Maine, a couple found a hidden camera at their Airbnb. Listen to what the host told police.
So they had sex?
Yeah.
And you recorded that?
I took some screenshots.
The host admits he set up a camera hidden in this clock next to the bed to record unsuspecting guests.
There's stuff of a couple of couples playing around or getting changed. So
okay, so there's pictures of people that are in intimate situations.
Yes.
It's more than just a few reported cases. And Airbnb knows it's a problem. In this deposition reviewed by CNN, an Airbnb rep said 35,000 customer support tickets about security cameras or recording devices had been documented over a decade. Airbnb told CNN a single complaint can involve multiple tickets. And a CNN investigation found Airbnb not only fails to protect its guests, it works to keep complaints out of the courts and away from the public.
Why don't we know about this? They are trying to keep it secretive. And if everyone knew what was happening, they would not be using their website.
Airbnb wants to wash their hands clean when they have a host who does something illegal or suspicious. They want to say, we are simply a website. We are not responsible for this host. We are not responsible for this property.
Florida attorneys Belkis Plata and Shannon Schott say trying to sue Airbnb if something goes wrong is extremely difficult. It begins when you sign up on Airbnb's website and click agree to its terms of service. You're agreeing to assume all risk.
The person going to rent the property agrees that if something happens while they're staying at this accommodation, they're actually prohibited from suing Airbnb. They must go a different route, which is binding arbitration. It's a way to strong arm someone.
Is this about controlling publicity?
100%.
Absolutely.
Once they've settled a claim, Airbnb has required guests to sign confidentiality agreements, which CNN obtained, that keep some details of legal cases private.
For you to get the check, you must sign the piece of paper so that no one will know. This will be swept under the rug.
That's exactly what happened to this man. How did you feel signing that confidentiality agreement?
dirty.
This man asked us not to show his face, and we've masked his voice. He and his wife were recorded during a romantic getaway.
They had intimate footage of my wife and I. The sexual union between two people is sacred. It felt like an extreme violation of our marriage. It's devastating. It's a travesty.
In this case and others, CNN found that Airbnb does not contact law enforcement once hidden cameras are discovered, even if children are involved. Recording someone without their consent is illegal in every state.
If people are out sharing their stories of how they were victimized through the services of Airbnb, nobody's going to want to trust them.
This man only found out he and his wife were recorded because police called him months later after another guest found the camera.
And they explained that every single room in the house had cameras.
Every room.
The cameras were hidden in smoke detectors.
Part of the challenge is that the technology has gotten so advanced, these cameras so small that you can't even see them. In this one bedroom, we have put multiple cameras all around, and they're hidden in plain sight. This one is in the smoke alarm, an alarm clock, and even an outlet. And some of them, like this one, I can control remotely on my phone and even live stream. What would you like to tell Airbnb?
By not doing their due diligence, they're harming families, and they're selfishly making a lot of money while doing that.
Airbnb declined an interview for this story, but told CNN incidents of hidden cameras are exceptionally rare. And when we do receive an allegation, we take appropriate, swift action, which can include removing hosts and listings. Airbnb's trust and safety policies lead the vacation rental industry.
Outwards to try and look at the CCTV, look at any travel links, perhaps even the use of a car if he had one. And the net will go even further than that. It will go right out towards the borders of the UK. And as was mentioned by your reporter there's always that possibility, because of the amount of hours that he has on the police, that the efforts perhaps even to leave the country. But be working to see if that has happened, but also to prevent it from happening as much as they can. So there'll be lots of work around trying to find him, look at the intelligence behind him, anything they know about his family, friends, associates, anything where he may well be now, and that will be their priority.
And just talking to Martin Underhill a short while ago, he was pointing out, the number of armed police who will need to be involved here. And the longer that this goes on, shifts change. How are they going to be managing to staff all of this?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, you don't have as many armed police as the Met, but the Met, they border each other. They'll be helping, and then let's not think that everyone just drops what they're doing and disappears. This is a particularly serious case that will involve a number of officers, and those officers will won't even think twice about staying on to try and make sure that in these critical hours that they have enough staff and resources to try and find him when necessary. So the shifts coming on, there'll be shifts being brought in early. There'll be more shifts coming on off their rest days. And this is what the police do. They want to try and solve this as much as anybody else. So I think that there'll be decisions being made to make sure that there is enough resources, especially if he is sighted.
We've talked about the shock that's been felt in the local community here. 3 women losing their lives in one home, women who are all known to each other. It would also have been a pretty brutal scene for those first officers who walked in the door to witness as well.
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, these are things that police officers see day in, day out, and it's difficult to cope with that, and they'll get the necessary help they need as well. But most of the time, they focus on what the job is in hand, and that is that that scene will be preserved. It will be now being looked at through forensic glasses, really, to make sure that they can prove that it was him that committed these offences. And releasing his details to the press is another way that you would suggest perhaps the SIO is is very convinced that that this man is responsible. But the officers, will be switching on to what they need to do. That won't just be the officers that unfortunately had to witness what happened inside the house, but it will be everybody in that force area, the local force areas that are next to it, and indeed, with the amount of traction this case is generating in the press, it will be police officers around the country looking and making sure that he isn't in their area, and if he is, that they can get him as quickly as possible.
And in terms of the decision to release the photograph and the name quite early on into this investigation, they must have had a certain confidence before they released that.
Yeah, of course, and the senior investigating officer is ideal as well. You look at those decisions that could be very impactful. But when you get to the name of the suspect and being confident that it is him, that next stage is how confident are you that without releasing it to the press that you can find him yourself. And there clearly is that element here where they need help. They're asking for help. They're asking for sightings, and not just witnesses close by, who saw him in that close yesterday, but now any sightings that people believe have happened in the time subsequent to that. So, that decision by the police, that SIO, is that he wants to help, but he's also making, very, very clear, or she may be making very clear that don't approach it. We just want sightings. Don't take matters into your own hand. He is dangerous. And if he is in possession of this crossbow, and if it was that was used in the case as well, then of course, that's another reiteration to say, let us know if you see him and we'll be there as quickly as possible.
Okay, Simon Harding, former senior detective at the Metropolitan Police, thanks very much. I think we can show you the shot, this live footage. This is where we're expecting an update from Hertfordshire Police very, very shortly regarding this triple murder in Bushey, scheduled to take place at 12:30, obviously slipping a little bit. We're expected to be hearing from Chief Superintendent John Simpson here at the police station in Hatfield. We will bring you that live as it happens. Maybe as we stay on this picture for a short time, let's just return to our correspondent Ashna Hunag, who is down there in Bushey, in the community that has been affected by this. And people living there, Ashna, obviously aware last night from 7 o'clock, sheer police presence, enormous number of armed police, plus the air ambulance arriving. People really thought something truly dreadful. They knew something truly dreadful had happened, didn't they?
They did, Jane. This is now the scene of a triple murder inquiry where I am here in Bushey, and what we are seeing on our screens now is the police station where we are expecting to hear from Chief Superintendent John Simpson. Here he is.
Superintendent John Simpson, Head of Local Policing for Hertfordshire Constabulary. Police were called to a property in Ashland Close just before 7 p.m. last night. Officers attended alongside colleagues from the East of England Ambulance Service and, on arrival, found 3 women with serious injuries. Sadly, despite their best efforts, the women, who are believed to be related, died a short time later at the scene. The victims are aged 25, 28 and 61. Our overarching objective today is to protect public safety and to locate Kyle Clifford, who is wanted in connection with the murder of the 3 women in what we believe is a targeted incident. We have extensive police resources deployed to various locations in North London and also the Bushey area of Hertfordshire. The manhunt also involves armed police officers and specialist search teams responding at pace in the wake of what has been an horrific incident involving what is currently believed to be a crossbow, but other weapons may also have been used. If members of the public see Kyle Clifford, they urge not to approach him at any point and to dial 999 immediately. Kyle, if you're seeing or hearing this, please make contact with the police via 999. Beyond the immediate search operation, a major crime inquiry has been launched, and we also appeal to the public for any information in relation to the incident. This incident will be, of course, of concern to local residents. Additional local officers will be in the area today, so please do speak to them if you need to. You can report information online at hearts.police.uk/report, via web chat at hearts.police.uk/contact, or call 101 quoting Op Inforna. Alternatively, you can stay 100% anonymous by contacting the independent charity Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111 or via their untraceable online form at crimestoppers-uk.org. Thank you.
Well, that was Chief Superintendent John Simpson giving a brief statement there outside Hatfield Police Station. Some new facts that we gleaned from that press statement. Victims 25, 28 and 61. We know how old they are. He said it was a targeted incident and that there is an extensive manhunt now underway involving specialist search officers and armed police. He said that this was an horrific incident. We knew that they were concerned about him having a crossbow. He said that a crossbow was used. Other weapons also may have been used. And he also gave a direct appeal to the man that they are looking for, that is 26-year-old Kyle Clifford, saying, Kyle, if you are seeing this, please make contact with the police on 999. Let's return to our correspondent, Ashna Hurinag, who was down there at the scene. Ashna, this is such an awful story, isn't it? These three women who perished, and now we know that it was two women in their early 20s and an older woman as well, and that other weapons could also have been used here.
Crucial updates there from the Chief Superintendent, John Simpson from Hertfordshire Police. We know that constabulary are working or have been working through the night, and this is now entering their 17th hour of this manhunt. The crucial update in all of this, Kyle Clifford has yet to be found, and police there not taking questions from the media as they continue their vital work. As you say, Jane, we learnt key information about those three women who died in the house within this cul-de-sac behind me, beyond this cordon. We know those three women were aged 28, 25 and 61 years old. We know that they were all related, but no real indication of what those relationships were between those women. We heard there from the Chief Superintendent that this was a targeted incident. You mentioned Jane, but there was this direct appeal to Kyle Clifford that if he is watching, to hand himself in. And for those who may know of his whereabouts or may even be helping him, friends, families, associates, for them to contact 999, and crucially for members of the public to not approach him. We knew that this suspect, Kyle Clifford, was carrying and in possession of a crossbow, but we understand that he is perhaps in possession of other weapons, say the police. There is real pressure on the police now to really focus and drill down into who this person was and where he might have gone as soon as he fled this scene here in Bushey in Hertfordshire. We know that this area is very form of is where their search is concentrated on, but it's also stretching 13 miles down the road in Enfield in North London, where we understand that police are also using their resources there in conjunction with the Metropolitan Police and armed officers too, to try and search and unpick more of this suspect, searching his previous addresses, trying to speak to people who may have known him. But really the new information coming out there from that press conference from Chief Superintendent John Simpson from Hertfordshire Police, that the three women who lost their lives last night were three aged 25, 28 and 61 years old. We know that they suffered such severe and ultimately fatal injuries that once officers and paramedics got to that scene, got to that house last night, they tried their best to do what they could to try and save those women's lives. But ultimately, they later went on to incredibly tragically die at the scene. And we heard this was a targeted incident. It is unclear whether Kyle Clifford knew these women or how he knew these women, but as police have referenced there, the word targeted, making it clear that perhaps giving us some indication as to the intention and motivation behind this incredibly heartbreaking triple murder inquiry.
Ashna, thanks very much. Let's return to police commentator Graham Wetton. Graham, just thinking about that phrase, what does a targeted incident mean?
Yeah, I heard that and was interested as well that the senior officer used that phrase just to describe the incident. I think without going into specific details, which clearly he cannot at this stage because it's gathering information and evidence for possible, criminal justice process. But to me, it means that he's known to them, that the victims are known to the suspect, and it in some way it's supposed to reassure the public this is targeted on this address and these victims as such. So it suggests some form of knowledge or relationship between them. He's targeted that premises and those victims, and I think that's what he meant by targeted incident. So the general public are not sort of overly concerned that he's running around with a crossbow to attack everybody. He's targeted those premises and maybe one or all those victims for whatever reason.
And when we look at the ages of those victims that have just been revealed, 25, 28 and 61, a family, potentially a mother and her daughters.
That's what I read into it, Jane. Yes, I think so. You're looking at the ages. First thing I did when I wrote those ages down as he read them out, 25, 28 and 61, tends to suggest a parent and daughters or siblings, etc. So family hugely impacted by this tragic incident. The officers that attended the ambulance service, and obviously their family as well. The family needs to be at the forefront of our thoughts as well. But for the police, the immediate priority and focus is locating this individual. And you heard a direct appeal as well from the senior officer to Carl himself to contact the police and hand himself in.
On that subject of that direct appeal, that also struck me as being slightly unusual. What would be the thinking behind doing that? But behind using his first name, directing this comment to him directly down the barrel of the camera?
I think it personalises it for me. And again, senior investigating officers will tell you the thinking, the rationale behind this, whether they do that or not, whether the individual is a sort of person that's likely to respond to that type of request or appeal. Is that you're using their first name, you're personalising it, you're asking them to give themselves up, you're explaining that it's been a targeted incident. So they would have heard possibly the whole press interview by the senior officer. So I think you're just making almost like a personal appeal to them to maybe just realise what's happened, hand themselves in before anything else happens in the police trying to locate them and detain them.
Also, the horrific nature of what the police seen, give some more information. He said, Chief Superintendent John Simpson, it was a horrific incident, and that as well as a crossbow, other weapons may have been used.
Yeah, I heard that and picked up on that point as well. We've been referencing this crossbow all the way because the police have released information that he may be in possession of a crossbow. So, the supposition, the speculation is that it was a crossbow and only a crossbow being used. But that from there, other weapons may be in possession of other weapons, suggests that there were other weapons used in this incident. And for the officers turn up and the ambulance service, the air ambulance, etc., all the emergency services. You never quite know what you're going to walk into. You're going to find. You're going to find someone with like one stab wound or one crossbow injury or whatever. You get basic information that comes over the radio as you're going to the calls. Your mind's working through decision making, what you've got to do, preserving life, saving life. You link in with the ambulance service if they get there before you, or they get there after you. Tends to be the police that arrive first on scene because they're out patrolling. The ambulances tend to either come from a central location. So, 9 times, 8 times out of 10, it tends to be police officers on scene first of all. Hopefully the ambulance is there very quickly after. You're never too sure what you're going to walk into, and literally going into someone's home address and finding 3 people very, very seriously injured. You then move into trying to the best you can to save their lives with the ambulance service, prioritising the victims. Your work head almost comes in, the professional approach to it, and you go through the emergency life-saving that you've been taught. You assist the ambulance crew as best you can because they're the professionals with this. That's their role, it's their expertise. You're trying to help them as much as you can. And then it's not until sometime after, even possibly around about now, this time today, when you're seeing it being reported and you're either sitting at home or you're just coming back into work again to start another shift. It starts to hit you really what you've dealt with and the huge impact it has on people that respond to this cannot be underestimated. But the biggest impact is on the family. those ages again, 25, 28 and 61. It just really starts to hit home.
It does indeed. Graham Wetton, thanks very much for joining us. Well, let's just remind you of that press conference that we saw a short time ago from Hatfield Police Station from Chief Superintendent John Simpson on this.
Good afternoon. I'm Chief Superintendent John Simpson, Head of Local Policing for Hertfordshire Constabulary. Police were called to a property in Ashland Close just before 7 p.m. last night. Officers attended alongside colleagues from the East of England Ambulance Service and, on arrival, found 3 women with serious injuries. Sadly, despite their best efforts, the women, who are believed to be related, died a short time later at the scene. The victims are aged 25, 28 and 61. Our overarching objective today is to protect public safety and to locate Kyle Clifford, who is wanted in connection with the murder of the 3 women in what we believe is a targeted incident. We have extensive police resources deployed to various locations in North London and also the Bushy area of Hertfordshire. The manhunt also involves armed police officers and specialist search teams responding at pace in the wake of what has been an horrific incident involving what is currently believed to be a crossbow. Weapons may also have been used. If members of the public see Kyle Clifford, they are urged not to approach him at any point and to dial 999 immediately. Kyle, if you're seeing or hearing this, please make contact with the police via 999. Beyond the immediate search operation, a major crime inquiry has been launched, and we also appeal to the public for any information in relation to the incident. This incident will be, of course, of concern to local residents. Additional local officers will be in the area today, so please do speak to them if you need to. You can report information online at hearts.police.uk/report, via web chat at hearts.police.uk/contact, or call 101 quoting Op Inforna. Alternatively, you can stay 100% anonymous by contacting the independent charity Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111 or via their untraceable online form at crimestoppers-uk.org. Thank you.
Well, that there, Chief Superintendent John Simpson. This is the scene of this awful attack that happened last night in Bushy in Hertfordshire, where these 3 women perished in this home. An enormous emergency response when this happened last night. Ambulances, air ambulances, hazardous area response teams, as well as the police, all went down to this scene. But despite their best efforts, they were unable to save 3 women who were inside this property. We now know that these women were aged 25, 28 and 61. And the Chief Superintendent there describing this as a targeted incident. An extensive manhunt is now underway with specialist search officers involving armed police across Hertfordshire and London. Let's return to Martin Underhill, former police and crime commissioner for Dorset and former police officer also. And Martin, I wonder what your thoughts were on the psychology of making a direct appeal to Kyle Clifford there.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, Jane. And obviously, in my day job now, I lecture in criminology. I would be surprised if the police did that without receiving advice either from a criminological psychologist or the College of Policing, who have a bank of experts who can help in certain cases, and this is one of them. It's a bold step to do what he's done. There are lots of negativity vibes over appealing to criminals, going right back to to the Yorkshire Ripper, when the cop in charge, George, started talking to him. So it's a bold move to make. The fact he's done it, and it was done very briefly, straight down the camera, suggests to me that he has had outside help, a psychologist or a criminologist, or both, saying, you know, this appears to be a domestic incident. I mean, everything we're being told now strongly suggests that this person has gone to a partner or an ex-partner's house and liquidated, literally, a family, which is appalling. But because of that nature, the fact that he is looking towards a domestic incident, the fact the police police used the word targeted, not only to reassure the public, but also to suggest, in inverted commas, this is a domestic incident. That means there's various psychological things at play which aren't at play if it's a random attack. So I suspect they've got some specialists from the College of Policing and or the NCA helping them. And I think what that officer did in that press briefing was scripted and planned.
Also repeating the appeal to the public that if anyone is harbouring him, to get in touch, not to approach him, but various different ways that they can get in touch with the police. Is this the police best hope now of finding him, that he must have had help, therefore that needs to be the person that they get to help them?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at cases such as this, never forget, if this is a domestic incident, and it does appear it's leaning more and more towards that, with a mother and two daughters slayed in a house. If it's a domestic incident, the other scenario is that this person could literally walk into a police station. And that has happened many, many times before. The enormity of what they've done sinks in, and they literally walk into a police station. Now, that doesn't happen in stranger attacks, but it does in domestic incidents. So the police have to cater for that. They also have to cater for the main way they're going to get him is through the public. But of course, we've got new technology now that can actually help find him over and above what the public do. For example, the Metropolitan Police, which is inches away from this location, has facial recognition, one of the best facial recognition systems in the world. And the offender appears to live in London. In Enfield. So it may be that facial recognition will be a quick win here for the police to bring this dangerous person to justice. But if that doesn't work, the second and probably the first resort is the public, which is historically always solves cases such as this. But of course, the worst nightmare for the police is a member of the public sees this man and challenges him and then gets shot with a crossbow. So they have to always end with, please do not approach 999.
Okay, Martin Underhill, really good to talk to you. Thank you very much. Let's get more reaction now with Dr. Enema Cunningham, who is a senior lecturer in criminology at the University of the East London. Dr. Cunningham, very interesting to talk to you. Just to get your thoughts about this press conference that we just saw. Why do you think the police have made this direct appeal?
I think, as your former speaker said, it was a direct and a personal appeal to Kyle to come forward. And that actually would be quite persuasive, I think. And it would be quite useful for him to hear that they know his name and they know what was going on.
Martin Underhill, really good to talk to you. Thank you very much. Let's get more reaction now. I'm awfully sorry, Dr. Cunningham. We appear to have some sound problems. A bit difficult to hear you. Let's just try and